match today, but DarkZero also very unpredictable sometimes, so I think those two meeting each other should be pretty interesting.
Should be a very interesting game. Now, we saw kind of this matchup, well, not exactly the same. So we saw DarkZero play Empire and Milan. The first game banked, they fell 8-6. Second game, Oregon, they didn't fare so well. I think they dropped it 7-2.
Oregon's not an option, so there is that.
There you go. That's been taken out of the rotation. So speaking of, let's take a look at the DarkZero roster. Nyx, Mint, BC, Hot and Cold, and Hyper. Team that surprised yesterday with, I think, a much shorter game than many imagined would be against Fnatic. I think that game was pegged to go 3 maps from the very beginning, and
yeah,
DarkZero really tore away with that one early on, and they never really let go of the lead, and Fnatic had an unfortunate day.
It was surprising because they play very well online. They play well at the LANs that they play for APAC finals. I heard good things about their scrims as well, and just maybe they had an off day. Maybe they'll be playing much better today, but it's definitely on DarkZero here, who are playing very well as usual.
Well, we had some time to sit down with DarkZero. Let's take a listen to the interview.
Yeah, so we just beat Fnatic 2-0. I think the first map was 7-2, 7-3. Second map was 7-3 as well. We beat them on Bank first and then Consulate. We're not quite sure what to expect. I think with FaZe, it's going to be a bunch of countering back and forth. For forZe, we can stick to more of our game and what we do. So I'd like to see them.
So you can hear that from BC, the former coach of the team, or former secondary coach. I don't know.
It's like a gotcha kind of thing, but he stuck around a bit longer than gotcha usually does on EG.
Kind of like a Pojo Man situation at TSM as well, but nonetheless, BC back in the starting roster.
Pojo Man formerly on that team as well.
Exactly. BC back in the roster as a starting rotation player, and I mean, DarkZero, man, they looked really good yesterday against Fnatic, obviously, with the scoreline that BC was mentioning there. And, of course, today against forZe, they have a much different opponent, but they feel that they can play their own game style. They don't have to counter as much against Fnatic.
I think that's going to be an interesting thing to try and do, because forZe definitely don't play like other teams, other than a little bit like Empire. And that makes it very difficult to play against. Here's the team as well. You saw them quite a bit yesterday. Shockwave, formerly of Empire, WTG, Pasha, Kama, and Rask. We saw some really phenomenal play, especially from Pasha, who ironically doesn't have the stats there from before, but he really showed up yesterday. We saw some interesting plays from Rask as well. Kama, I think, maybe a little bit underrated for how many important plays he made yesterday. And Shockwave, of course, you know, already a fantastic player. WTG had some good moments as well, but maybe we'll see a bit more of him today.
Well, we also had a chance to sit down with forZe after their victory yesterday. Let's take a listen.
It was very hard to play on the so big tournament because we don't have a lot of experience on such tournaments. Maybe it's better to play like underdogs because no pro teams think that you're a serious team and they don't learn your plays. We were prepared on bootcamp like 60 days, 2 months. We were preparing for Challenger League qualifications, but we stepped here into the major, and that's preparation for Challenger League is preparation for this tournament. I think we, of course, can show our power, and we are not in the shadow because we playing in a different from Empire. They have like a very slow passive style, and we are playing very aggressive and a lot of YOLO moments. I think we will do our best. forZe up, face down.
forZe up, FaZe down. What a line.
The smack talk.
What a line. Well, for forZe, they're saying that you know, maybe they don't see themselves as mimicking Empire as much as maybe we've been making it out to seem.
Well, it's, you know, they obviously took things from them in the sense of like what they learned. They obviously play each other, being both Russian teams. They probably know quite one another, and so they don't have to completely ape them at all, but they're certainly playing pretty well in a similar fashion. No reason not to, right? Empire are one of the top tier teams by far, the winner in Milan as well, so no surprise there, but it is amazing to see two fantastic teams coming out of Russia like this. We'll see how they do today, though. Maybe yesterday was more of a fluke, but I don't know. They got here by qualifying. They proved they can do it against strong teams like Chaos. and Vitality. So,
well, we're going to start out with the map bans. Border and Bank are gone, respectively, from DarkZero and then forZe. See what the 2 map picks are going to be. It's going to be DarkZero picking Kafe.
no surprise there.
Interesting.
I mean, it's Clubhouse, though. That should be fun.
Still letting Clubhouse through, are we, boys?
Yep. Well, you can only ban 1 map, so, and I guess they just really didn't want to go to Border.
After seeing forZe's performance on Club yesterday against FaZe, I wouldn't want to take them to Club, but we lose Coastline next thanks to DarkZero. 1 ban left, it's Consulate gone, so we get all 3 defensive-sided maps. Kafe, Club, and Villa.
Well, I mean, at least they're switching sides. You have forZe starting on defense on the first map, then switching to DarkZero on defense on the second map, so, you know, it's fair. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, they get to choose the side if they didn't choose the map, and so they are going to choose to start on defenses, and that's generally how it's been for most maps. Most teams choosing defense to start first when they have the choice, with a few exceptions, but definitely something to consider is how defensive-sided a lot of maps are at the moment, just because of operator bans against certain attackers, things like that. Kafe, you can see the stats there. A pretty good map for DarkZero. Not a surprise that they would pick that. And you can see also that first ban against Bank from forZe. Definitely a good choice, as well as Bank is a very good map for DarkZero also. So, I mean, they have a couple really good maps. You can only ban 1, so hopefully forZe made the right choice here. BC looking very focused, as are most of the members of forZe here. Almost look camera shy at this point. They're thinking. They're working on their strats in their head right now, getting into the zone. And there's Coach BKN Bacon, just watching over his team.
I'm sure there's been a lot of focus lately for DarkZero on the teams inside their group, of course, but also taking a peek out, knowing that, you know, they're 1 game away now from making it to the quarterfinals in their first ever major. That is another thing. This team, all the way back to their Flipside days, they have never participated in a major before.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something they've been working towards for a while and doing quite well at it, so I'm not as surprised. Community vote there definitely favoring DarkZero, though. But after the performance for forZe yesterday, I don't know.
I read this as a 3-mapper.
Yeah, this definitely feels like one.
I don't think this is going to end in 2. I think we're going the distance.
That's why it's going to end in 2.
Exactly.
You know how that works.
Exactly. You know, we just thought EGSSG was going to be 3 maps for.
That was a quick 2. For those of you who missed that match, I'm not going to spoil who won it, but absolutely worth a watch. That was a very interesting battle between EG and SSG. The one match on the stream that we were not casting, as we will be casting this one and the next one as well. But we are getting started here on Kafe. So will they start kitchen first or bar? I wonder, but map or operator bans first. What will the attacker ban be? We saw a Thatcher ban, interestingly, in the last matchup. Well, Cap gonna go first. Definitely a common attacker ban these days.
Feels like it. Feels like the more we trudge on through these games, the more that we're seeing Capitao banned out. And
I don't like it. I like Capitao. Dang it. Jackal as well. I like, but they do want to be able to roam from DarkZero, and they certainly will. They play a pretty good roam game, so I'm not surprised to see that go. You could see some gridlock play, for example. That's something we talked about. Rogue are very good at. They're very good at this map in general, but it is a very strong play because of the way it controls the stairs. I definitely like the gridlock. Also the freezer doorways and things like that. Echo going as well. That means Maestro is going to be playing that heaven spot, the cocktail balcony area, pretty heavily. I got to imagine. That's been such a strong defense for a lot of teams that I imagine Maestro not being banned will open that up for both teams. Although who knows how forZe will play it. We'll start in bar, of course. No. Oh, there's the Maestro. Okay. And the Mozzie. Good choice. Oh, is Pasha going to go for that 6 pick? There's the gridlock coming out from BC. Hopefully he sticks with that. As I said, it has been pretty effective. Oh, Kitchen they switched to. All right. Interesting. So they're changing up a little bit. Pasha going to stick to the Legion instead. The 6 pick. Good choice, though, for Kitchen because there's a lot of horizontal area they're going to be entering through. Being able to get some intel when they push those directions will help. Slowing down their entry into Bakery is definitely helpful. Not to mention the side of Bakery door over there. So should factor in. We'll see where the Maestro Evil Eyes get placed, too. Interesting to see if we see any good ones.
Big thing for me for this one on DarkZero is For the attacking side, we just saw a game between EG and SSG where, again, not trying to spoil anything, but one team really tore away on the attacking side on both Clubhouse and Kafe. So, I don't know, it's quite the interesting feat to see that happening, especially when the maps are so notoriously defender-sided. So we'll see if maybe DarkZero can mimic a little bit of what's been going on earlier on today. There's also the Giants and NIP game going on right now. It's also on Kafe, and it's been pretty even down the middle.
Yeah, I saw the first map going to Giants, but I'm not sure how it's going after that.
Well, that's on the Bravo stream right now. If anyone's got the multi-stream up, and this one might actually be over in a second.
Looking pretty good for Giants to maybe close it out, but you never know. Yeah. Well, anyways, that one's about to end. This one's just beginning. Pest stopping the drone through the window. Doesn't get shot as well, so not going to be able to get a better idea what's going on over there to jump in. It is risky, so they're doing a good job delaying into the entry into Bakery, which is I was talking about that Legion's good for as well. Very important.
Deploying drone.
A little bit of slowdown here from DarkZero. They're not really sure. I mean, with a team like forZe they haven't played before, you really don't know how they're going to be defending this. You can't just play to the NA meta and hope you're going to make it work. So a lot of drones going to have to come out these first rounds, try and figure it out. They also have the Nomad combined with Gridlock. That should help, but Rask with a crazy run out, vaulting up on top of a vehicle for that shot and just getting away with that clean. It is traded back onto WTG though, and that's the smoke lost. That's a pretty good pick, but losing the Thatcher, also a pretty good pick. So good trade from both.
Well, we saw Rask yesterday, never afraid to go for an early engagement. Yesterday on Villa against FaZe, didn't really work out so hot for him, being the opening pick for 4 consecutive rounds. Now he's taking aim inside a Bakery. He's the one to get the opening pick to start things off on Kafe today. Stun canister's launched out as Hyper wants to push down the hallway, and DarkZero still stalling out, trying to push through the red stairs. Hall, and ooh, the stun against his own teammate. Hyper disoriented, and he will fall at the hands of Kama playing at the base of red stairs. Another one now as he turns the corner, and Kama's Nitrous will be the one to take away Nyx, even though Shockwave was in the midst of an engagement. It's down to Hot and Cold in BC now. Smoke grenade coming out onto the rotate so they can continue to push down the hall. Now BC will turn the corner. The pre-fire in, but Kama's relocated topside. That's 3 on the round for him. Looking for 4 as he walks down. Hot and Cold will take him down, though, even though, a Legion Mine in his foot. Down to a 1v3 with 45 seconds. This is still looking very strong for forZe. Shockwave on a little lower HP than you might want, but hey, you still have the ult in hand. 81
3
bullets.
armor as well.
He can take quite the beating, and he's prone currently in the back of, just outside of the prep half wall. Rask still playing inside a Bakery, Hot and aware. Pre-fires know that the bullets will land onto Rask, and Houghton really doesn't know have much of an entrance in here. He's got this one rotate he can push through, but multiple members of forZe locking it down from deeper in, and Rask is going to be the one to shut it down from inside a Bakery. So, Kama and Rask combined for all 5 kills, and forZe, quite the aggressive defense here on Kafe, but it works out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is DarkZero don't know how they're going to be defending. I feel like DarkZero might do better on defense, and I'm sure they wish they started there because that's where you get some time to feel out the attack a little bit. On attack, you don't really get a lot of time to feel things out, especially with such an aggressive team with players like Rask doing runouts. While you're sitting there trying to kind of, I don't know, map out how the defense is working, they're just running all over the place, making plays, jumping outdoors. This is going to be a rough start, I think, for DarkZero. I wouldn't be surprised to see forZe take quite a few of the initial rounds just off that alone, just the lack of information that DarkZero is going to have. You saw them trying to drone, those drones getting stalled out, then the aggression pushing back. I mean, there wasn't much DarkZero was going to be able to do against that just because they couldn't get a moment to breathe and rally themselves. They might do a little bit better here on bar, though, as they can spend some time upstairs, not getting run out on the roof, and drone a little bit better, figure things out a little bit more. The Mozzie, though, is going to deny some of that drone work. Plus, they've also got the cameras to be able to get some intel for both the Evil Eyes and the Black Eyes, and maybe even capture some of those drones. So, forZe are still in a good spot to be able to delay this as much as possible, get some nice roam picks, and I gotta wonder if DarkZero gonna regret banning that Jackal.
Possibly. We've seen the maneuverability and the fluidity from forZe last night against FaZe, and in that game, it wasn't really just Rask swinging for the fences. It was Rask, it was Pasha, it was everyone on forZe. Really, Shockwave would take chances, even more of an anchored role. I mean, didn't really matter who was going to go for swinging. forZe was going to take the shot if ever presented the opportunity. So, for DarkZero, it's about not getting caught off guard here. It's about making sure that you're trying to bait out, and we saw a little bit of that from FaZe last night as well. Didn't really work out as much as they would have liked.
Yeah.
But as long as you're playing into your strength and playing a little more of a patient game, eventually they will lose their patience and come swinging for you. You can take advantage of that.
Absolutely. In this case, they're definitely being patient at the moment in terms of at least trying to hold that. And I like that he bailed off after killing the drones, so they didn't necessarily know if he was still in the room or not. That's going to slow them down quite a bit more. Kama also holding that nice long angle from downstairs up through the hatch. That's always a fun one to see. He's got a little bit of a lampshade there helping protect his angle as well. Whether he's going to catch anyone there, hard to say, but Pasha does finally, you saw how long he was holding that C4, rotated down, and then still got the C4 kill, just denying Christmas and Piano as long as possible. Pasha, though, definitely the man to watch for sure after yesterday. They've got to watch out for, if there could be any, I wonder if there's any of the pests up there towards the red drop as well that could be very useful for throwing them down there. He does have one in his pocket still, though, he might use to help his roam. But Kama, the one, this is very typical, though, seeing a Valkyrie down playing in pillars, just because you have the cameras to get an idea if they're going to rotate on you. Now he's playing in mining. Oh, there we go. WTG finally going to get down, and that's the trade, but that is, again, onto the smoke. So we seem to lose the smoke early on, but that doesn't seem to hurt forZe too much.
No, it happened plenty of times last night, and nothing really ever came of it for FaZe. Now turning the corner, here comes Rask onto Houghton as he tries to thermite open the freezer wall from Piano. It's a minute remaining, just a little bit over now for DarkZero to one-man disadvantage, and Kama going to take aim just above the new hatch balcony. There's a drone watching pillars. Nick has him on drone, but Kama still wins out with the MPX at range. Impressive gunfight there for Kama. Shockwave laying prone, watching Cigar. Again, another engagement here for Kama. Standing up on top of the new hatch balcony, swinging a little bit too wide and exposing himself for just a moment. Hyper will go down. Now BC, last man standing, able to trade out Kama finally, but he's already done the damage. He had to go all the way down red stairs just to accomplish that.
Well, at least he has the tracks on the red stairs to stop a flank on him, but he's not going to be able to fight three like this.
Attackers recovered the
It's going to be troublesome for BC. Recollects the diffuser from the new balcony hatch at the very least, but Shockwave never left his position.
Nope.
Lying prone in that hole, and
that's the heaven spot I was talking about, where you're going to see Maestro pretty much every round.
Yeah.
That it's bar. Even when it's not bar, when it's reading as well, I think you'll still see him there.
I'd imagine so. We've seen a bunch of different implementations of the top floor hold while defending either of the two main floor bomb sites. And there's always one or two alterations that every team will make to make it their own. But for the most part, yeah, you still need that that cocktail balcony.
It's just too strong not to use it. There's no real way to contest it. The lack of windows to be able to help fight that on that side, it's just, there's not really much you can do to contest it other than trying to win those long angle fights. And the fact that, as you pointed out, the Valkyrie winning on the MPX at those long range fights really shouldn't be happening as much, but at pro level it does happen more than you'd think. While the damage output of the MPX is really low, the stability of the recoil makes such a difference in terms of being able to land the headshots. That's the difference, I think, really between the pro level and rank level, especially lower rank level. They're going to think, oh, the MPX is a terrible gun. At high pro level, they're like, this is a great gun. Just like the MP5. You have an okay fire rate, great recoil, and that's all you need to hit those heads. You don't need high damage output. We are going to see a Doc, though, come out here. This time it's not from Pasha, which we saw quite a bit of him doing yesterday. Instead, it's going to be Shockwave playing that Doc. So Pasha instead going to be on the Mozzie.
10 seconds left.
Going to have Kama again on the Valkyrie. They're going to be playing Reading now. They started to pick Mining Dining for a second, but decided to, nah, not great. And then we see most teams making that choice where they'll go to Reading instead. But it is an option. It's just not as great an option as it used to be. Reading definitely better, partially because of that heavy defense, so you can hold from above, and it's hard to contest it. I think makes Reading very appealing, as you see Shockwave the one to hold that spot right now instead of the Maestro, who is not in play. So that was just Shockwave holding it last time, though, I believe, on that Maestro. So he just picked a different ACOG operator to do it with, and instead of opening poke holes instead of having cameras. Although you may have a bulletproof camera set up as well.
So an early deficit here for DarkZero to overcome, and this is kind of looking like the beginning of the game against FaZe last night for forZe. Dominating rounds where it looks like their opponent really didn't stand much of a chance in the round. I mean, DarkZero haven't gotten a whole lot going thus far. It's only 2 rounds deep, and you are on the non-favored side of the map, so it's understandable. But for right now, it's forZe in the driver's seat, and they're not looking to slow down anytime soon.
Well, see if they can get this round as well and continue the streak. It's definitely problematic for DarkZero so far, and I gotta imagine on the defense they'll just be in a better position, but You don't get to choose your starting side if you choose the map, so it's going to be rough. They're bringing a sledge this time, something a little bit different.
So inside of Piano now being droned out is Kama. I'm sorry, not Piano, in the middle of Train. Turning the corner now will be Nixon in tandem with the drone. There goes Kama. So now they have perfect sightline into A. No one else covering, but a lot of kill holes still up top. DarkZero have abandoned the attempt to push all the way across and control Cocktail Balcony. Instead, they're looking almost like what we were seeing from forZe last night on Consulate, where they would push from admin, they would get to vending machine, and then they'd stop moving. That's all the get around we need. Same thing for DarkZero here, where they've pushed over to like the new balcony, cigar, piano. But they haven't pushed any further than that.
They need a drone at this point.
They know they don't even need that control. If they're going to go for a dining room push to get a plant down, they really need a little bit of pressure onto reading here, and that's what the X-Kairos are for. Shockwave, though, will take down Hyper. One of the members that was pushing underneath towards reading door. DarkZero are in a good spot to go collapse into reading.
Yeah, but that could end up with a collapse on them because they didn't clear out a lot of these Romans. You saw Shockwave taking down the railing, so he can vault down pretty easily. You got WTG still holding some angles. Pasha upstairs as well. This could easily turn into a collapse on them while they go for the plant. So DZ really needs to have good flank watch. That's not great flank watch right there, and this finish with the shoddy. Just nicely done by Pasha, taking advantage of the top floor control, standing right next to Track Stinger still.
Oh, now in the midst of throwing a smoke, BC will cut down WTG, and the plant going down from Hot in here is stopped holding the top angles to collapse onto the site for a plant, and Hot's going to get this off successfully. BC will take down Raska as well. A flank down from Pasha levels it to a 2v2, so it's Hot and Mint against Shockwave and Pasha. Turning the corner in towards reading, and Shockwave has the flank from Pillars as well. It's a flank on top of a flank as Mint is still up top by Red Stairs. On top of the diffuser now will be Pasha trying to stick the defuse with Shockwave covering. Nobody from DarkZero pushing in until Mint turns the corner for one, and Mint with both of them. Big shutdown there for Mint, the team IGL and captain. And DarkZero get their first round on the board.
I really thought forZe were going to take that, but the patience from Mint definitely paying off, waiting for just the right moment, letting the defuse get started. They had good coverage, but Shockwave could only watch so many angles at once. I think if there had been another member of forZe left alive still, that would not have worked out so well. But forZe letting the plant go down, definitely not great. They really thought the dining plant was going to come out. You saw the X-Kairos open things up. They were getting set up for that. But the call for the rotation to plant in reading instead, that was a smart play, especially since he set it up in a position where Mint could watch it fairly well. Just smart last-minute audible there, saving the day, just due to the fact that they had the kill onto WTG. Of course, had they not been able to kill him earlier, he would have done a bit more work in delaying a plant for reading. So just one of those opportunities they saw, they took it, got the plant down, and knew how to cover it. But forZe are going to get to go back to kitchen now, so see how things go. Last time we did see some good runouts, just a lot of surprises in store for DarkZero. They might be a little bit more centered this time. Make some better plays. BC up there with 4 big kills, doing some work for his team. And he's one of those people that went over to coaching, but then came back to playing just as if he'd never left. Similar to when Gotcha subs in for Geo. It's just one of those things where, you know, they don't really come in and are rusty again. They're definitely still got it.
5 seconds
I mean, we even saw that when Dizzle played for his team.
And when Ranger played for Rogue at DreamHack Austin.
That wasn't terrible. He was never a pro player, though.
No.
Is the difference, though. Yeah.
Gotta love when the coaches come in, though.
I do. Yeah, I still want to see Shaz play. Someday.
Didn't Silence play a game for Liquid?
I think
he
not
did.
Sure.
I'm not 100% on that, but...
They're looking for these cameras. They don't have an IQ to be able to spot them, though, and there's some good ones. Different angles. I like that hot cold taking advantage of a little bit of peak angle. Here the Maestro Evil Eye doing some shots, maybe some damage, or maybe just taking out a drone.
Battling back here out of the prep door will be someone from forZe. I believe it was Pasha. It sounded like an MPX, but honestly, that could have been from anywhere.
Oh, nice catch. That's a shock drone, too. He's going to take it out, but that denies at least one of his shock drones.
He's going to pull a, what was it? Was a Hyper? No, it was a Rexon. That's what it was. And now they're both gone.
All right, well,
by the
that's full Rexon now.
By someone in behind the bar. So right now for DarkZero, again, same kind of script as the last time they attacked onto this. Not a lot of entry, not a lot of progression, being stalled out by the utility and the peaks coming out from the forZe. WTG is going to early smoke off the closet, and here comes Raska again on this run out on top of the black car. He's going to completely evade and get away with it for free. Actually, Mint coming away worse for wear out of all of that chaos.
Yeah, Shockwave is a little wounded, but as we talked about before, he's a 3 armor, so it's not a big deal. But it's interesting to see an Evil Eye getting moved. You rarely see like a late round movement of an Evil Eye like that, but they got a better idea where the push is going to come from, so they just make that adjustment. Rask going for the same run out as before. It doesn't get a second. Come on! Much later into the round this time, but that's 2 now. He's gotten away with that, still with an ADS in his pocket as well.
So it's the same conversion here for DarkZero. They start towards Bakery, and then they go for a full rotate over to the east side by the bar, and they can't really get much further. The run-out's still happening from Rask every round, and this is a bit of a nightmare scenario here for DarkZero. They do have a few more members alive at this point than they did last time they attacked this, and big problem is they have not locked down either of the flanks, either from Rask or Kama. WTG on red stairs as well is repelling all this, and now DarkZero going for another rotation back towards Bakery, and Rask is going to end that thought quickly. Houghton on 1 HP, Nick's now in the grave. Kama needs to rotate down and help out Rask here to really lock this down, but DarkZero, 0 entry. Wow. WTG shuts them both down, and now it's a 1 HP Hot and Cold floundering outside the north side of the building, left alive. I don't know if Rask is going to go for the long run out on that one, but pushing in past the coat closet, Kama is going to lock that one down. It's a flawless round for forZe here on the defense in the basement, and DarkZero, after getting a round back, they're back in a 2-round hole.
I got to imagine DarkZero wishing they could better claymore that Bakery door after those 2 runouts now from Rask. It's tough against a team like forZe. Just the way they play is so unpredictable compared to what you're used to from a lot of teams. And I wouldn't call it ranked style because they're making smart plays where they generally know what they're doing. It's not just, oh, let's run around like crazy and be unpredictable. It's just they're being very smart. Mint going to bring out the IQ if he doesn't 6-pick from it this time, get a better idea where those black guys are. And that's probably a good idea because if Rask, for example, is taking advantage of that extra intel for runouts, you got to deny it somehow.
Yeah, you can see every time before Rask goes for the run out, he's getting on and off camera.
Yeah.
And the camera's outside. We saw them throw that in prep phase. So at this point, yeah, you're going to want an IQ here if you're DarkZero. You're going to want some more intel on where their intel is. The defense for forZe heading back topside now. Cocktail bar. And last time around, it was a 1v3 for BC to try and push his way out of, and didn't get very far in that process.
No. So far, not a lot of kills for the team because the 4 for BC were from earlier. They just didn't really get anything. That last round was flawless. But that was nice to see WTG pick up a couple last round as well. We hadn't seen a ton from him. He'd been getting killed early quite a bit. So him picking up 2 last round also helped things out because the rest of the team obviously was already doing some pretty good job. I think the rest of the kills pretty well spread out among the other members and now pretty even. It's just one of those things where the whole team definitely showing up and just taking turns doing it. Shockwave back on that Maestro again, playing again that spot called Heaven, which is I'm not sure who came up with it, but I think it was Ranger that was explaining that's what they called it on Rogue. But basically the cocktail balcony area.
Every team has like their own variation of calls for it. Like,
I mean, Intero's been saying it enough. I might as well just go with that. Yeah, exactly. There's definitely call-outs that make sense, and some that are just kind of weird, but Kama is still going for his rotates. He did play Pillars last time, may go for that as well. This time he's just hanging out on the brown stairs so he can rotate up if need be. Mint is going to be looking for any gadgets they could find ahead of time, though, try and get some kind of intel. They don't have a Thatcher to be able to easily take those out, but they do have a shock drone, so they could potentially, if something's really mission critical, potentially take it out with that. We haven't seen BC's Gridlock do a ton of help in terms of the tracks really stopping them. Mozzie, on the other hand, that's doing some good work. Poor BC cannot get past, loses the drone anyways, so that is going to make it much harder for him to make a play here. Instead, going for the upside down repel to try and get an angle. That is definitely a hard spot to fight, formerly known as Pixel Spot.
Yeah, it has a few other names.
Yeah, we'll go with Pixel Spot.
Yeah, we'll go with Pixel. Not to excuse the pun, but yes, Pasha's Mozzie has been quite the pest for DarkZero to contend with, and I know I'm infiltrating into your dad joke territory on that one.
You can share it, it's fine.
Nitro Cell coming up, and again, those are soaring far wide. They are not even coming remotely close, but Mint has now been down to the hands of Shockwave. Nick's taking a lot of damage. Shockwave will clean up his down. Now another one peeking, but Houghton sends Shockwave back to the Shadow Realm on that one.
Great counter.
Beautiful pre-fire.
Yeah, that really made a huge difference right there, because that is usually the big thing stopping a push, but I like that Rask is just going to take up the mantle, and he'll fight it along with Kama playing from below.
Down to a 4v4. So better position to be in here is if you eliminated Shockwave. Getting that ult out of the way and getting the usability of the Evil Eyes out of the way. For DarkZero, this is massive, but again, progression into Kafe on any of these bomb sites on the attacking side is always slow, given the nature and the setup of the map.
Yeah, well, We'll see if the Jaeger can hold as well as the Maestro did. Doesn't have an ACOG, but he is a good shot. Rask definitely going to try and at least delay. With 40 seconds left, he doesn't have to live that long for it to be effective. He just has to deny any kind of push across long desk, try and stall him out with the gridlock tracks, but the smoke not actually giving full coverage, so Rask is easily able to hit that shot on the Nyx. Kama following it up as well. It's all on BC and Hotton, who's low on health.
Trying to push through, dropping the skylight, and that's going to go nowhere again. Hotton on 10 HP, and Pasha will shut it down. forZe looking unreal here on Kafe. Granted, it is the defense, don't get me wrong.
Oh, for sure, and they're playing a good one, though. And that's the thing is, obviously you can get a favorable side and still squander it.
Yes.
Just ask EG's Clubhouse defense.
Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely go ask those guys about that.
So we will go to Reading again. They're not going to try that mining. They don't need to, though. They've been winning pretty much every bomb site. Reading, though, is the one they lost, but they lost it due to a good last-minute call from DarkZero. Probably won't fall for the same thing this time. They're going to be a little more prepared. 6-pick, though, coming out for Pasha back to the Pulse. Not going to play that Vigil, but the Nomad actually coming out as well. They're not going to bring the Gridlock. Just going to try and cut things off with the air jab, give themselves some more flexibility in other attack operators, maybe to do a bit more gunning, do some more work here. They do have the Zofia there as well as the Sledge again, so that will offer them some ability to set up rotates. We did see the use of the Habana last time to try and open up from the white stairs towards the dining side, but interestingly enough, looks like you're leaving part of the dining wall soft instead to be able to fight that so that they can't stack up on that wall to set up for a plant. That might just force them into going for a similar plant attempt on Reading now. But we'll see how they play it out. WTG has not always been long for this world, so he's going to have to play very smart. He might need to really play a bit more intel in terms of trying to get an idea where he's being pushed from, make callouts, and have teammates help support him rather than taking gunfights or exposing himself unnecessarily to angles. But it looks like he's upstairs at the moment, so hopefully he's going to play somewhere smart and safe and not at a long angle that he can't fight as well with that SMG.
Last round of the first half here.
Yep, this is, I mean, if you get 5 on this, DarkZero's going to have to come back equally well to even stay in this map. And this was DarkZero's map pick, too, so you really don't want to be losing that.
Exactly. Obviously, with it being DarkZero's pick, forZe had the option to pick defense first, and they went right for it. Easy to understand why. For DarkZero here, this is a pivotal round, like you said. forZe come away with 5. That's pretty solid. If they only come away with 4 and you're able to salvage the half at a 4-2,
that's not bad.
That's pretty standard for Kafe.
Yeah.
That's pretty standard for all the defensive favorite maps. You know, Villa Club and Kafe are 3 maps here today.
Yeah, let's see. Hold on. I'll pull up the stats for the bomb set. Whoa, Rask again. I was trying to do something productive here for a second, Rask. Can you just stay in the building?
I'm sure Hyper is saying something along the same lines, but a little more profanity. But yeah, Hyper is now meeting his maker for the, I believe, for the 6th time.
So defensive stats from yesterday for these bomb sites, just to give some context. Kitchen, 50-50. Mining, dining, 0. Like 100% win for attack, so no reason to pick that. Reading, on the other hand, only had a 75%, but that's pretty big. 60% though for bar, just because teams know how to attack it pretty good at this point. So that's kind of how defensive-centric some of these sites are. But overall, out of 3 bomb sites to be over the 50% mark, or at the 50% mark, it's pretty good.
Absolutely. And forZe again, starting off with a man advantage. A bit of a flank coming here from Kama, pressing all the way up towards the pixel angle. Prone peeking now will be Hotton from inside a cigar. Kama's going to give away his location by being in the barbed wire. He's going to make a little bit of noise, but he's going to retreat back to join Rask, who's going to vault down the white stairs. Kama fills back in his position, so a good demonstration of teamwork and flexibility there, being able to fill the position that your teammate is leaving.
Like taking shifts at this point.
Yeah.
I like that angle there being opened up from Rask as well. I mean, he's already got his 1 kill, and that's on Hyper of all people, so he doesn't need to do much more. But hey, the more he can do, the better at this point. WTG just needs to stay alive in the room, though. We saw what happened last time when he got taken out, is it forced a lot of the other team members to rotate around, and that caused some problems. So he needs to hold his own, but Shockwave, as well as many of the other players, are helping hold the pillars. But Shockwave can only watch so many angles safely here. So Pasha actually going to be a big help in calling out where players are, trying to ping them for his teammates as well. But Nyx takes down Rask. Kama trades 2 actually onto Hot and Cold Nyx, and Shockwave a 3rd.
It's just BC alone now in the 1v4, twisting in the middle of the Reading hallway, and WTG takes the angle, turns the corner, BC falls, and DarkZero now at a 5-1 deficit early here on Kafe. This is looking really strong here for forZe, man. People keep doubting them. And I mean, we were all kind of doubters heading in. We didn't know a whole lot about this team. They were a big question mark for all of us.
I knew they were going to be good. I just didn't know for sure how good they were going to be in this environment. 'Cause it's tough to predict that.
I certainly didn't expect them to be doing this well against some of the world's best competition. You got FaZe and DarkZero. I mean, presumptive #1 seed almost every single season, every single tournament coming out of Latin America for FaZe. They had a bit of an off game yesterday. They didn't look as hot as they usually do, but that's also credit to forZe's ability to throw them off their game. And here for DarkZero, yeah, you were attacking on Kafe. At the same time, not a lot of those rounds were even close. That's kind of the issue. That's, you know, it could be a 5-1 scoreline, but every single one of those rounds could have come down to a 1v1, and I would have said DarkZero is playing out of their mind.
Yeah.
They could be losing 5-1, and I would still say they're playing out of their mind. But those rounds really did not look remotely close.
And I don't want to say they look lost, but they look a little flummoxed by some of the plays from forZe, especially Rask just getting away with a lot of the silliness he was trying to pull yesterday that he didn't get away with nearly as much, but it's certainly working today.
And forZe are quite the momentous team. They play with momentum a lot.
Yeah.
You see it from, so I actually figured out who was yelling so much and screaming like a banshee yesterday. It was Kama.
Oh, that makes sense.
So Kama was having a lot of fun yesterday, really hyped up, and
He's made some good plays, though.
he has made plenty of good plays, especially from a support role. You know, he was more flex here on the defense on Kafe, but you can see as they turn to the attack, Kama's back on his Thermite role, and honestly, he hit some particularly nasty shots on Thermite yesterday, so
Yeah.
don't count him out, even if he's the last man standing for forZe. And for DarkZero here, it's just about getting back in the game. Take it one round at a time. Don't look at the 4-round deficit. Just look at, hey, this is round 7. We need to win round 7, and then 8. Keep moving one round at a time, because you don't want to let this one get away from you. It's your map pick, and if you drop that early against this team, heading into Clubhouse next, we saw how good forZe is on Clubhouse. This could be over very quickly for DarkZero. They might have a date tomorrow with the the winner of FaZe versus Fnatic.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to come back, though, and it's just because forZe are good at aggression. It's not oh, they might get away with this stuff, they might not. And Rask being Ash Jaeger main here is going to be pushing him pretty aggressively. We saw Kama make some serious plays as Thermite even yesterday. They are going to have the gridlock tracks as well, plus the phone calls, so roam play is going to be a little difficult for DZ. Obviously, the Jackal ban doesn't help things in roam control, but at least they made up for that with the phone calls here.
So, slow going once again, and hey, it's Kafe. It's kind of a slow map.
It's Kafe.
So, forZe making their way into Piano unobstructed. I mean, that's pretty typical. Nobody's really hard-holding Piano these days. Both Thermite charges will be used on both the bathroom wall and the freezer wall here, as they'll Ash open the soft wall, heading in towards Bar. Nobody really taking too much of a swing there. It sounds like it's Hyper on the Alda, taking a couple shots in towards Piano. Lots of walls opened up here, but
yeah. Nice angles he could play there, and I like the way he's got the coverage from the deployable shield for that. Pasha taking a little bit of damage, it looked like.
Looks like also this Thermite charge that was placed and detonating on the freezer wall was either impacted or shot off, and didn't actually catch how that happened, but they're out of Thermite charges and they won't be able to get freezer wall open.
I figure they could probably frag this out though, but it looks like there's a wall open though.
Yeah, they opened up the bathroom wall, and they tried to open up freezer, and something went awry. So now the stuns come barreling out. Nyx, though, got the opening pick onto WTG, so there goes the gridlock. A lot of tracks already down, but you lose the smokes in the process. Now another smoke will hit Pasha directly in the face. Now crouching, walking up the bar. Rask will get one before his teammate is traded out. Another one for Hyper now. DarkZero in the driver's seat on this round. Possibly for the first time, really, this entire game. Evading the Legion Mines. 2 members for DarkZero stacked on white stairs. The phone calls will come out, and Hyper continues to decapitate every Russian member on this board. Shockwave last man standing now is the Dokkaebi with 10 seconds left, and Hyper goes massive on the Alda. DarkZero get one back under their belts, and still a 3-round deficit, but like I said, 1 round at a time.
Yeah, well, this is definitely much more doable now that they're on defense. This is something where they can start to kind of adapt to how forZe is attacking as opposed to being on that attack yourself. And that's why Kix always points out that defense tends to win, for example, in a new map for a while because, you know, they get a chance to kind of figure things out, whereas attack has to figure things out kind of on the fly. And that still applies to new teams as well. Now the DZ have a better idea what to do. They're still going to struggle, I think, a little bit, but they might be able to get a few rounds here. Still think it's likely to go over to forZe, but you never know. they definitely showed that they can truck along despite a few round losses here or there yesterday. But forZe are also going to be able to go to an easier site in a way. And interestingly, we're actually going to go to mining dining instead of reading.
Attackers need to locate
So
and
that's
defuse as many bombs as
different.
they can.
And that we don't usually see that too often. And as I said, from the stats from yesterday, it has a 100% loss rate, although that might have been out of one play. So I didn't see the sample size there, but so far it's not doing too well this
Attackers
event.
have located a bomb.
Rask and Calm up there at 9 each. Well more than anyone on DarkZero. Next, going to bring this castle here to try and help control the flow of things a little bit. But the problem, I think, with this site here is just the destructibility above and below makes things a lot harder to sit in
10
place.
seconds left before
And it's a
insertion.
difficult site to be able to control very well because you still got to control above.
5 seconds remaining.
And now it's a little bit easier to take Cigar and push around there because of the way they have the secondary hatch now and
Attackers are
the
moving
ability
to
to drop
defuse
down
the
that,
bomb.
as well as Cigar's a bit more open. And Christmas takes are pretty common as it is already. Teams are used to doing it. So, whereas, you know, when it's the other side, the reading side, it just has much more advantages than mining dining. But you never know, DarkZero might pull it off. They're the one who would even play Bakery back when that was a thing for them on this particular map before the revamp.
So back to, I guess, unfamiliar but old familiar territory here on Kafe, as mining and dining was the de facto secondary bomb site for the longest time while this map was in competitive. Most ranked in most regions as well. This kitchen was just an absolute nightmare to defend on this map before the rework, and now it's still not the greatest, but it's not terrible.
Well, it's definitely doable for forZe, as we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it involves turning yourselves as defenders into attackers a little bit and going
why
for a
not?
few runs, but hey, if it works.
Hyper trying to do a little bit as well, trying to play aggression. They're just trying to defend as best they can against this. But as I said, this is a normal take, very accustomed to. You know, it's not as hard to take Christmas. And because of that, you can get a lot of control of above. You've got the Buck. I'm sure you probably got breach charges on the Zofia and maybe on the Twitch. Should be able to open up a lot of the floor. And that will make things a little bit harder, but they are still going to try and defend top floor from the opposite side as best they can with the Maestro. So the Evil Eye as well as the typical deployable shield you're going to see a lot of the time from that Maestro.
Cast barricades in the freezer door are going to limit visibility and mobility for forZe pushing through. They're going to have to utilize some utility to try and pop those open and make some progress. And again, they look like they kind of might be implementing a little bit of what they did on Consult last night against FaZe, which is the half push. They get enough control, they feel comfortable. They don't really feel like they need anything more than that. Because realistically, the site is mining and dining. They just need to go down from where they're at right now. They don't need to be pushing too much further over. It's just the amount of guns that are trained on them. Hot and Cold is going to drop down the laundry hatch. I don't think that was intentional, but it does give them some freedom to reload at the base of the stairs.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be useful, especially since he has backup on there. But now that that backup's gotten droned out, it's going to be a little harder. However, this play here from Hyper, completely read into. Grenades come out, don't do much damage to him at all. And in the meantime, WTG takes down Mint. Good kill onto the Mozzie.
It's a war on two fronts here, as half of forZe are trying to go for the push onto the site, and the other half are trying to clear across the top floor of Cocktail, but 2 deaths on the side of DarkZero gives forZe a massive advantage. They try to condense back onto the objective. Hot and Cold outside in Pillars, giving the call to a man inside of Mining. Nyx will turn the corner, but whiff on the gunfight. WTG will shut him down to a 2v5. Hot has the possibility to lock it down from outside, but Rask vaulting on him up above. Assassin's Creeding Hot and straight out of the server. Now Hyper above the laundry hatch, last man standing in a 1v5. A flawless round yet again for forZe. Put us on match point, why don't you? The new Russian machine seems to have trouble breaking. 6-2 on Kafe.
Definitely well done. It's just a solid round from forZe. DarkZero trying to push back as best they can, but there's a reason why that side isn't played. And I mentioned a few of them earlier on, and that was just a good demonstration as well. But also got to consider the team that they're up against. However, they just could not hold any kind of solid defense. The Maestro rotating off certainly didn't help things in that. I mean, yes, it kept them alive a little bit, but that also took away some of the hold they had up there, and pressure came around. And no wonder DarkZero are going to take a tactical timeout because they're now sitting on map point here. And this could be the last timeout they could possibly take on this map. So good time to do it. They're going to have to try and think hard and deep and how they can get 4 rounds here to take this to overtime, and then 2 rounds after that. It's not going to be easy. Let's see if they can pull this off here. A lot of concentration. It's talking coming out from a few of the players there. This is going to be a rough one, though, for DZ, because as we said before, this is their map pick. They really need to win this. Can't afford to go into Clubhouse empty-handed. But this is an uphill battle. See the concentration from Nyx there. Just taking a deep breath. forZe, though, got to be feeling comfortable. I don't think they really need much, but the thing is they get to take advantage of this timeout as well to just make sure that they solidly strat this round to make sure they can win it. I mean, they are on attack, so they can't necessarily strat in the sense of like knowing exactly where the bomb site's going to be because they can rotate it, things like that, but Kitchen is definitely doable. And unfortunately, Bar is not available for DarkZero the way things were played because they did win it. That actually puts them in a slight disadvantage now because they have to defend harder bomb site in what could be their final round, and I gotta say, likely will be on this map. Let's see if they could pull it off here. They are gonna go with the Kafe, though, to be able to at least maybe even deny Freezer from distance. I'm not sure what they're gonna try and deny with it because there's a lot of different walls they could be opening with the Thermite.
So, Kitchen defense to keep themselves alive here on map number 1 for DarkZero tonight.
Attackers have discovered the location of the bomb.
Oh, after yesterday's performance from forZe against FaZe on Clubhouse, I'm actually very scared for DarkZero very early on here. This is getting quite troublesome, and yes, forZe had the advantage of starting on defense, and they won't have that advantage on Clubhouse because it was their map pick, and there's no...
It matters even more on Clubhouse, realistically, but...
There's no universe in which DarkZero like to attack, or, yeah, DarkZero like to attack first on Clubhouse. So, they'll at least have the advantage of that heading into Clubhouse, but I mean, this has just been unreal for forZe.
Yeah.
Incredible show of force in the games that we've seen. This is the 4th map I've ever seen of that. Sorry, no, 5th map. I watched the last map they had for the online quals to get here.
Yeah, I outcasted those, so I definitely got a good taste of this team back then, and that's... I mean, like I said, I was expecting a lot from them, but I think they're outperforming what I was expecting.
Absolutely outperforming everyone's expectations. There were a lot of posts actually on the subreddit saying, you know, maybe forZe is a dark horse to win it, and everyone dumped on them.
Wow.
And I'll be honest, I read those posts and went, nah, you're crazy, you're crazy. I've been proven wrong. I've been proven wrong a lot so far this major, and that's kind of why this major is probably one of my favorite events to be at, to cast, to watch in general, just because it's so wide open.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a couple of events in the past where maybe some of the groups are a little softer. I think every group is wide open here. There's been a lot of drama, and Hyper is going to start things off, giving WTG a taste of forZe's own medicine, going for the run out or the peek up top. The bandit trick unsuccessful here from Nyx, so the bakery wall will get opened up from in behind the bar, and Shockwave sending the drone in. We'll give Nyx a little zap there just to back him off. But they are down a man. They've lost the Thatcher, but at the same time,
Hey, job done.
Wall's open.
Plus, WTG hasn't been hugely impactful most of the time anyway, so, you know, at least it wasn't like Rask or Pasha or Kama. So, Shockwave, really, for that matter.
Located a bomb.
They are definitely trying to put some pressure on here. This is where it starts to come down to angle play, though. Whenever the walls get opened here, it's about angles. Rask has the better one, so Nyx goes down. That's how it's going to go for the rest of this round. Really, the next minute is just going to be feeling out, trying to get run-outs into Claymores. So that is really going to force them to turtle at this point that their one run-out fails. I can see this collapsing fairly quickly unless forZe just walk into some accidents here, but they've got man advantage, they've got utility. Diffuser even going down. They're trying to cover Freezer. Oh no, he looks up just the wrong moment, but you know what, he doesn't get punished for it. Hot and Cold does punish one. Now he gets punished. Diffuser is planted in a 2v3 now.
Oh, wow. Good shots there from Hot and Cold to go for the flank through Bakery. Now it's just Pasha alone outside the mining window, decapitates Mint, and has visibility on the Diffuser from above from multiple angles. This is the hole that BC made with his impact. Could it be his own teammates being their demise? BC and Hot and Cold working against Pasha, who has elevation. Houghton slowly pushing his way up red stairs, and Pasha playing it safe, just covering Diffuser for now. Has a punch hole towards the wooden barricade. He's going to spot out one, but the Diffuse still going down from BC. Pasha unaware. 1 second left. All he has to do is hit the hand. Pasha! The 1v3 clutch! And forZe take map number 1!
What a play. Pasha with the 10,000 IQ, taking full advantage of the door that the defenders put up. They put themselves just in a difficult to win situation. Pasha is absolutely reading that, setting up that punch hole while he still had time. DZ not really knowing when they had a good opportunity, tried to make the play as a good team play. It was a good idea, but it certainly didn't work.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, quite the surprising showing here from forZe, the Russian, I guess, mini-me's of Empire, who don't want to be called the mini-me's of Empire, are on a domination run, and this seems like it's PTSD flashbacks for DarkZero back to Milan when they faced Empire. But we're going to head to a short break in between the maps. On the other side, we'll have Clubhouse with DarkZero battling for their qualifier spot.
Defender is approaching. Diffuser.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 6 Major, Raleigh, North Carolina, in 2019. It's the Summer Major, and DarkZero on home soil here, even in the southern portion of the United States where they're from. They have a team house in Texas. They have dropped map number 1 to the new Russian incumbent, I guess, superstar team that we knew nothing about heading in.
I love that we have one Russian team on the stream, and then the other one, the original one, on the other stream. They have definitely made their presence known here in North America. It is quite the battle for DarkZero, losing their own map in quite spectacular fashion. Now we get to go to a map that we know Empire are very good at. I imagine also this team following suit after what they showed yesterday. It's not looking good for DarkZero.
Well, spoiler alert, 3, 2,
Spoiler alert.
1. Evil Geniuses also chose Kafe, and SSG took it off them in rather spectacular fashion.
To be fair, they took both maps off them in rather spectacular fashion.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly close.
I'm not sure it mattered where they went. SSG were just on it.
Seems like teams who pick Kafe, other than Rogue, teams other than Rogue who picked Kafe are having a bad time so far here in the Major. We are looking to get underway here on Clubhouse in just a moment. All the players are back, and here we go, launching in forZe. DarkZero on Clubhouse. forZe currently lead the map series 1-0. It is a best of 3. Should we need it, we'll head to Villa. But for right now, all eyes on Clubhouse, all eyes on forZe to upset DarkZero, the previous number 2 seed out of North America, to make it to Milan. They lost to a Russian team there. Will they lose to a Russian team here in Raleigh, North Carolina? Only one map away from possibly being sent down to the decider match against the winner of FaZe versus Fnatic.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. DarkZero banning an interesting choice to start out with as well, the Buck. Now, DarkZero actually have a decent history on Clubhouse. Maverick ban's been pretty calm in this event for Clubhouse. But they beat Reciprocity 7-3 on this map. Reciprocity are pretty good at this map as well, so that was a little surprising. They also got a draw on at the time they played it before that against TSM. I believe, no, I'm sorry, against Space Station. Well, of course, it's Space Station. Of course they drew. Mira next to go. So, I don't know. I'm saying they have a pretty good Clubhouse is my point. But at the same time, we know forZe also has a pretty good Clubhouse, and it didn't matter if they had a good Kafe from DarkZero because they seem to just get run over regardless, so... This is, it's hard to say who's going to win this, but it's certainly looking one way, and the community vote did not seem on the right side of that.
No, community vote, as it often does, seems to have failed us here. But then again, I'm sure many of us who submitted those predictions for CGG to predict who we thought would come out of the groups, boy, oh, have we been wrong
I don't remember
already.
Who I picked for this, actually.
For Group D?
Yeah.
I know I said DarkZero and Fnatic.
I might have said FaZe. And...
I don't think anyone
DarkZero,
said
maybe?
FaZe.
I don't think I said Fnatic.
I also didn't say SSG, and...
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think a lot of people are sleeping on SSG, as Bosco liked to say.
Yeah. Like the whole team's been saying, man. They got this little bit of an underdog spike coming for them, and it's been working out for them. Let's see... I don't know, forZe, they entered the tournament an underdog, and they're quickly becoming a contender real quick.
Or maybe you're just saying overdog.
An overdog. It's getting nerve-wracking here for DarkZero. They will start on the defense, thankfully, on Clubhouse, so might be able to survive. But I mean, FaZe started on the defense yesterday on Clubhouse, and they got obliterated by forZe's attack.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously DarkZero know what they want to do here. They know what they're doing. They have a good Clubhouse play. It's on forZe now to actually kind of pick that apart, but there is better VODs on DarkZero than there is on forZe on this map, so DarkZero had a slight disadvantage in that sense, but starting on the defense is, as you said, a big, good starting advantage, and forZe then might lose some of that momentum they have coming off that last map, but I'm not sure if that's a really big issue for them as a team. It doesn't seem to be. I'm not sure how momentum-driven they are, though, because we've mostly seen the momentum in their favor more often than not.
Yeah, we saw them cool off a little bit in the last 2 maps against FaZe. You know, they were up 5-2 on Villa, and they let that one entirely slip away. 5 straight rounds for FaZe to push it to map 3. And same thing in the 3rd map on Consulate. forZe were up huge. It's looking like it's going to go home, and FaZe again bring it back, and forZe just kind of letting their opponents get back into it. And I imagine they've learned from their mistakes. They don't want to have that happen again. And especially a team like DarkZero, that is not a team you want to give an inch to breathe. You want to suffocate them. You want to smother them so they cannot get back in at any point.
They certainly did in Kafe. They just got to repeat the same thing here. No heavy roam play here coming out from DarkZero. They're going to go for a turtle defense. And that's the thing, is that this will really kind of slow down forZe in some ways a little bit, but it also means like they cool down a little bit in terms of actual gunfights, right? I mean, it speeds up some of the roam clear, of course, because they don't have roamers to deal with. But then you get a chance to position yourself, feel out how things are going. They've got the pulse to be able to kind of identify the movement of DarkZero. They don't have a Valcam or anything to go with that, but still, being able to get some idea where the movement is, adjust your positions, figure out how you want to play it, that can work well for DarkZero. They've also got the mobile cameras of the Yokai they could be using to position as well. And those are going to be difficult to spot. You see one here from Nyx. The timing on that. He's going to rotate one around, actually deciding he was just hiding it at first, going to find the blue position, but Hyper fighting 2 with the C4, and that is the Habana gun. Not sure if all the hatches were finished off. They do have a thermite to be able to dump, but no, the kitchen hatch still solid. So that's a great pick. DZ, though, going down in the process, but not all the way. Nyx finishing off Shockwave. So WTG cannot finish the job yet, but a sneaky play here by Kama, finishing off Nyx and almost getting a second. Little peekaboo game here, and WTG actually wins it. Good team play. Wow, this is coming back into a 2v2 now.
It's Down to Mint and Hyper now trying to survive. They had it up 5v2 with one member down, and now Kama taking shots from multiple angles. WTG trying to tag in. They've got a member cordoned off underneath the kitchen hatch, and that's Hyper slowly peeking his way towards Dirt. Going prone in behind the middle box inside of Arsenal. They also have support from Mint all the way down the long hallway. Time ticking away against them as they need to push in. They don't have the diffuser. It's actually upstairs. So they're going to have to go for picks here. Flash comes in from Kama. Waiting for Hyper to turn the corner, but he's never stretching out to a vulnerable position. 20 seconds left, and the drone will reestablish where his position is. Someone's going to have to turn the corner and take the aggressive stance, but Mint on the flank through blue will take down one. Will he go back again? Kama's going to read that. He's going to down off Mint, now down to 10 seconds left, and Hyper still under the kitchen hatch. Throws the drone as a bait, knows he's still there. Kama does not have the health advantage, and the pre-fire's not enough. Hyper stands pat underneath the kitchen hatch, and that's DarkZero turning things around here.
Even though it was lost that round, that was a good play. Had any of those shots hit Hyper's head, it would have been a win.
He hit a lot of shots, man.
Yeah.
Hyper was getting low there, but he started off at 100, so.
Yeah, if he'd hit just one headshot, one single bullet would hit, he would have won the round, but it was a great idea. Pre-fire started maybe a little bit early, and that threw some recoil on it, which threw off the aim slightly. But nonetheless, a great attempt there. So the C4 obviously changed things quite a bit, but the thing for me is how fast forZe adapted to that. Oh, C4, okay, we'll take blue and dirt. Like that. They were in dirt. They were in blue. They lost some people to it, but they established a crossfire that worked very well for them and actually made it possible where it got down to a 1v1, just good team play. Didn't work out in the end. Great play by DarkZero and also holding their positions, burning off time, not letting that sort of rush pinch close it out on them. But either way, that shows forZe, even in a situation where they lose some people due to a C4, realize getting kitchen hatch is not very winnable. Whoever's the IGL making a really fast, good call on that. Very impressive. But Hyper picking up 3 that round, looking good for a start here. They're going to have the Yokais again. This time they got to go to Cash, though. Cash also a very defendable site. They're going with the double electric with both Bandit and Kayet to be able to hold these things down. Both walls. Potentially, no, he's going to lock off the bedroom side. Kayet's probably just going to be to hold off the construction wall.
Attackers are moving out to locate
So the buck ban coming out from DarkZero is something we've seen before in other regions, and most notably on border, especially out of Latin America. That's where we typically see the giant chunk of buck bans. They do happen sparingly elsewhere, but for the most part, it's Latin America on border. They hate the buck, and for here, it's forZe having to, I don't know, just kind of switch up the play style a little bit. They're having to
forces a lot more horizontal play too.
It does. forZe yesterday demonstrated a wonderful grasp of having the vertical play on almost every map. Hyper takes a little bit of damage. I think he was trying to be the opener again with maybe a nitro cell, maybe just going for the peak with the MPX, but regardless.
He's still alive, that's what matters.
It was the dirt peak.
Yep.
Valiant effort there for Hyper, trying to catch anyone off guard out towards the strip side, but it's not going to pay off for you. The concussions aren't going to hit Houghton, but he's still going to have to dive back, and Pasha's going to gun him down on the retreat. Beautiful work there from forZe to get that opening pick onto Hot and Cold. Now it's Nyx and BC stacked inside of the rafters. Got to wait for Hyper to try and return to site. I don't think anyone from forZe right now is covering the rotate back, so it could be free roam here for Hyper.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like forZe are very focused on this. Wow, that was a play right there. The one wall that's soft, completely taken advantage of. BC had no idea that was coming. He was busy trying to cover with his Yokais, I think, at that point. Spot also coming out down on the player. I believe that's Nyx right there, just underneath the window. So they know he's there as well. He's not going to catch him by surprise unless he peekaboos just the right moment. He is rotating those snake-like over to another position they may not be anticipating. But nope, he's spotted on a drone. So it's all just about trying to stay here as long as possible, delay them. In the meantime, though, WTG taking down Hyper. It's all now down to a 2v5. This might be a flawless round for forZe. They have yet to take any damage here. Let's see how this fight goes. All right, going towards that flawless round. Still no damage. Mint has got the world against him now.
Stuck inside a cache in a 1v5. He's got the TCSG waiting for the Zofio Shockwave to turn the corner. Just holding off. Sounds like a nitro cell, and it won't be a flawless round as Mint gets one back in his column, but the plant going down now from Kama with coverage from both Pasha and Rask, and Pasha will be the one to close it out. Mint falls inside a cache, and DarkZero, they start off well in round number 1, but cache defense goes awry pretty quickly for them. Opening picks that never really got responded to, and very good, I guess, intuition there from Shockwave on the pick onto BC inside of the rafters.
And
That's just a common spot you're going to pre-fire.
The nice thing is that even if no one's there, you open up that angle so no one can move there in that position without being shot later. So it's a good angle to open up. Yes, it can be used against you as well, but I think it's risky to take a peek like that because you don't necessarily know where they're going to be outside of that breach. Jim going to be coming out here. Really, I don't know about that. I feel like they should go cash again because if they fail the cash the second time, they just go back to church at that point. I mean, they're still likely to go back to church next round. But Cash, I think, has a better opportunity. We saw a bit of that earlier when we were talking about Jim just really not working out for some
Attackers need to
teams.
locate and defuse as many
For a team
bombs
like
as they can.
DarkZero, who put so much preparation and time into their game, every single game, no matter who they're going up against, I've often noted that DarkZero looked like the most prepared team heading into any game.
Yep.
And I imagine they would have gone over the VODs of forZe versus FaZe yesterday. On Clubhouse, the one round that really looked like FaZe should have had in the bag on defense that they lost was the gym bedroom defense. That was the 1v1 with no time left that Pasha pulled off the plant and pre-fired.
Yeah, the accidental kill almost.
Yeah.
10
So
seconds remaining.
I imagine DarkZero has seen that and thought, okay, our cash just got
5 seconds
absolutely
remaining.
dismantled. They struggled against FaZe yesterday, attacking gym bedroom.
Attackers
Maybe we can
objective is to
pull
locate a
something.
bomb.
But you got to imagine forZe also was going, what do we do wrong there? And look to make adjustments to it.
Absolutely, it's the counter game back and forth, but that's the only real explanation I can give you as to why gym bedroom will come out over cash. Because you're right, the statistics would say play cash once again. Even if you lose it again, you can go back downstairs and keep things close.
Interesting, he shot the X-Kairos practically from spawn. These other tracers go across, opened up just 2 of them. The rest got electrocuted off, so interesting strategy. That is going to start to open things up, though. It does give a small angle. Going to clear off the rest with the Thatcher there. Try and open up some more as
A bomb has been
they
located.
have a thermite. They don't have to do that, but it's certainly going to make it harder for them to do anything about it. They have the KED. I suppose they could throw an electric claw from a distance. Somewhat safe, maybe from around the corner, but Hyper actually going to be the one here on Rome to try and creep around. They know someone could potentially be playing there. You see the ping coming out from WTG. Still 2 EMPs left in his pocket as well to help out as needed for Jacuzzi Wall here. I imagine that might be the one they're using the KED for, potentially, depending on how they play it. Sledge always good on this particular bomb site, as I was talking about earlier, because you can sledge open the castle barricades basically for free with an upside down rappel that's only got risk in terms of the cash window. Looking decent for forZe so far, but time is going to be their enemy here if this takes them a while. At least they've got some important starts to it, and looks like Pasha's got a good cover on the window side, so I don't think Rask is going to get peeked here.
Don't imagine so, and this is the same setup that forZe were bringing yesterday against FaZe when attacking gym bedroom, which was Pasha's basically peek hold. You're not getting to server window unless you go through me.
Yeah.
And that angle is pretty impossible to win against. It sounds like a nitro cell just went off in the middle of sight. I don't.
They might have gone for a throw and it stuck to something midair.
Possibly. Kama's going to open this up again. This is where we had the worst flashbang throw of all time. Thankfully, he dumps all 3 in with a frag grenade falling right behind, and Mint has no idea. Completely blind and without a heartbeat now. They're spotting the Valkyrie cam as well as they push into Jim. Bathroom wall's been opened up as well, and Houghton's going to take down Rask, but an immediate trade here for Kama as Houghton will fall. There goes the Cade and the 1-man advantage back in the favor of forZe.
It's down to a bit of roam play here. BC just slightly off-site. He just gets another goo mine in his pocket. The Hyper could have the play here. He's got a C4, could chuck it at an angle to land it outside the window, but just as he's thinking about a shockwave, pulls off, and now is working a different window. So unfortunately, Hyper loses some of his advantage. Nyx, though, being able to play out here in construction as well, looking good. I think Hyper's just hoping for a vault into the gym window to try and help cover, but they could go for plants here pretty soon. Nothing to directly oppose them yet, especially if they can lock BC into logistics.
They've had so much gym control for a
no.
while now, but this is going to be Hyper all day if they try and enter in through gym. They didn't actually get that Valk cam in there. They finally will. The plan going down for Kama now, and all Hyper has to do is launch a nitro. Here it comes, soaring to the sky, but it doesn't connect. He pulled off the plant, but Nyx with a 3K now. Diffuser on the ground. WTG holding still, and DarkZero off the backs of Nyx and that UMP. It's a 3-bang for him to round it out in style, and DarkZero will persevere. The gym bedroom defense paying off.
Yeah, his patience inside construction, waiting for just the right moment, absolutely paying off for his team. Nyx is an aggressive player. I used to criticize for his over-aggressiveness on operators that really should be playing back like Echo. But in that moment, he showed patience. And it really mattered, because that C4, I don't know if it just didn't hit or Nyx got the kill first, but it definitely saved the day in taking out 3 at once. And unfortunately, yeah, the hold from the other angle wasn't going to do much for them at that moment. But I think at that point they knew the round was over. It didn't really matter too much. But like you said, maybe that was that site is a weakness for forZe. So going into future matches, I imagine teams might look to actually play Jim against them, just in case that works in the future as well. Although that did get dangerously close to working for forZe that time.
Yeah, I mean, they had the man advantage, they had bathroom control, they had killed off the smoke. Really, all you need is someone down by pool table window to make sure Hyper can't play inside a pool table, and that's an entirely different round, because you can get that plant down all day.
Yeah, someone could have just vaulted down to the pool table window. Well, we'll see, though, if we end up going back to Jim. Unlikely, but it's possible here if they win Church and then Cash. Jim will have to come back again.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Hyper actually bringing out the Ella, something we see mid-play sometimes, although it's been a while, I think. Cotton going to be the one on the Mozzie, and mid on, interestingly enough, the Vigil. So they're definitely going to play a heavy roam Church. It looks like judging by the operators, but you never know. They might stick a bit more turtle.
Cotton, Mint, and Nyx are all upstairs, and Hyper's on blue stairs, so yeah, roaming's a pretty safe assumption.
I think so. I mean, Turtle didn't work out the greatest for them last time, so I can kind of understand. They did eventually win that round, but just barely so, because just of the pressure, horizontal pressure, actually worked out pretty good for them, for forZe, that is. Let's see, though.
Quite the crazy round last time that DarkZero defended this site, and came down to the 1v1 between Kama and Hyper. Hyper won it out thanks to the health advantage that he had. If they were both on about 20 HP, then Kama definitely would have came away with the round win there, and it would have been a 2-1 advantage here, but instead Nyx is going to start things off on a shockwave, immediately dropped to the floor by WTG in a trade, so at least you've done a little bit of damage to Houghton as well, and as I say that, Kama goes down. There goes your Thermite. Massive picks here for DarkZero on the roam.
This roam definitely working out. They haven't been punished too heavy for it yet either, because Nyx only died after getting a kill. Good trade. I mean, it is a bummer losing the Legions, but losing the Zofia and the Thermite, I think, definitely much, much better. Worthwhile trade. At this point, if they just went back to turtling on site, they'd still be in a good position because of the amount of time burned. You saw how long it took for Pasha just to get the diffuser back as well, and they don't have a ton of utility left. They still can get hatches open as they have all 3 X-Kairos, but there's 2 players right near both sets of hatches that they need to get. So, I mean, yeah, he can get stock first, but let's see if Rask is read into this. Going for the nade. Doesn't connect to anyone as the bar is clear now. He's going to have to try and push on the stairs. He's going to get pushed back on. Some cameras up as well. They're helping things out, but starting to make progress, but maybe a little too late and too few man left to do it. Let's see if they can clutch this out.
Knock, knock.
Looks like it was 2 Valk cams placed in bar. One is a bait, one is a hidden one, but both of them get spotted out by forZe, so lost the intel, but you still have that huge man advantage. Like you said, Pasha can still open up the hatches, but at this point, 55 seconds remaining, and DarkZero look to be well in control of this round and their destiny here after really falling apart on Kafe on their attacks anyway, and their defense is not really standing up to measure. Right now on the defensive side of Clubhouse, they seem to have a much firmer grasp of how to be dealing with forZe in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely looking a little bit better. Interestingly, since it's forZe's map, but Hyper in a nice position, just lays in wait. Pushes WTG with 2 slow peak. Pasha, though, trying to make something happen here, but there's going to be play from blue as well, putting pressure on them. They can't really get in here just yet. They might even push from hallway at this point. Oh.
Lost frag grenade there, and the spray coming through the soft wall in towards Pasha and Rask as they try to push in through the church door from Moto. There's not a lot of access, and Hyper will continue to lock it down. It's the Scorpion all day, all night inside of blue, and Hyper on DarkZero is going to give them some elevation here and some breathing room, now up 3-1.
Now what I wonder, though, is whether or not they can win cash. I mean, we talked about how defensive side of this map is, so it's not unusual to see DarkZero pull those 3 rounds, but I don't know if they can continue that. Jim was definitely a good round for them, and they managed to win Church both times, so that's a good start, but they've still got to win cash here to try and give a real good 4-2 advantage, potentially, which would bring them back to Jim again. But I don't know, I feel like this cash could go again because it's such a well-attacked site. forZe seem to have a pretty good strat on it in terms of attacking it. But Nick's going to pull out the real wild card here that I can't imagine forZe is going to see coming, is that clash. That could be the game changer, or that could just be a big misplay depending on whether or not he can live long enough to do some serious work with it and delay forZe. I mean, I like the idea. I'm curious to see whether or not he's going to play it up on the rafters, play it on the hole when it gets open on the cache server. There's quite a few different areas you can play it at to really slow down forZe. Which be interesting to see. But definitely much better score here in terms of kills coming out from DZ, except for BC, who hasn't really gotten a whole lot going yet.
Well, with the lack of a Kafe being brought by forZe every single round, I mean, they have not deviated from these 5 operators at any point.
Yeah, it's interesting that Kafe didn't get banned. It's because of that buck ban really took its place.
So DarkZero identifying that there's a weakness in the side of the forZe lineup in terms of utility to counter a clash. They still have frag grenades, but at the end of the day, you can kind of turn your shield towards those. They won't be 100% lethal like the fire will.
Sophia, which helps, but it's not as strong, I don't think, in a lot of ways as the Kafe, yeah.
Especially not at extreme range. Like if Shockwave's just going to be sending those stuns up into the rafters, then even though Nyx's legs are exposed by the shield moving, the rafters will still cover his legs.
Very true. It's going to have to be in a different position to be able to actually do something like that.
Yeah. So right now, the utility lineup for forZe, I mean, at the end of the day, the best utility you could bring to any gunfight is a crossfire. And that will still lock down Nyx the same way as if he was a man with a gun or a man with a shield. So,
well, once they get the wall open, they can establish a bit more of a crossfire through the window into rafters. They just got to get this wall open first. Don't throw for the 5 damage. Both his teammates wanting to get hit by that EMP. They are concerned about a run out. I think they have a claymore on it, which they should. Here we go. They can start to work for the wall getting open, but it's actually not even being countered just yet. Oh, there it is. Never mind. Hot trying. Can't succeed. He didn't get killed this time, though.
Houghton, you're right. He does escape to safety, but he has had a bad run of the bandit trick lately. Has not been successful with that at all. So at least he'll retreat and keep his life, and possibly a nitro cell in the back pocket to hold for some plant denial here. So forZe at least get the CC wall open, the server wall. Now they'll be moving over to open up the bottom portion of garage. And I imagine Nyx and BC inside of rafters will be the next concern. Nyx actually isn't even in rafters. Hot and Cold going for a flank down below. This is another obstacle that forZe will have to overcome, and Mint having some struggles here with his nitro cell. Even though there's no one out there at the server window just yet, I think he's trying to lob that all the way down to the ground to try and pick off Pasha.
Yeah, that's a risky play, but I'm glad he reconsiders after it just doesn't work at all. Hyper, going for a very long angle there. I'm not sure if he knows for sure someone's there. He's just opening something up. There we go. Nice attempt there. Does quite a bit of damage to Pasha, but not enough to kill him. Just about half his health gone. And that's just more of a warning shot at that point. He needs to get away. But things have really slowed down. You've got 2 players up there on rafters, it looks like, as well. So this is working out pretty good so far. The frustrating grenade.
No idea where these shots are coming from, but BC overextending, as is Hot and Cold, and suddenly such the advantage that DarkZero had is disappearing and slipping through their fingers at a moment's notice. Drone coming in now from Shockwave to figure out where those shots are coming on from Mint. They're all the way upstairs inside of Cash through the lounge wall. It's quite the inventive angle there from Mint, but at this point, no one from forZe occupied with pushing lower garage. They have the rafters control they need. Their next obstacle will be Nyx, though, on the clash, and that'll be a hard one to overcome. Hyper in the windowsill, quite the vaulting there, doing some parkour to get a better angle on anyone pushing through, going for the default plant. But Kama's entering into the server wall. They might be able to get a kill here with this, but outside of that, there's not a whole lot. They're going to use a nade to get rid of the pre-placed nitro if there was one. Nyx pressing up, and now he's going to get in the way of Hyper, going for the rush out. Nyx pulls out the machine pistol, but cannot get the kill. The plant going down into the overtime now from Kama as the last man standing is detected outside. Just poor execution on the plant denial there for DarkZero, and they're going to drop around on Cash once again. forZe bringing one back.
And that's the thing, is Nyx was critical in making sure that they won that round. His shield play at a man disadvantage had to work, but when you're at a man disadvantage, you need the other players covering your cross. It's the only way you're going to make that shield work, is the shield needs to be bait or distraction while the other players get plays. And walking in front of Hyper, that's not going to do it. That's definitely not the play there. Hyper, I appreciate what he was trying to do, but it was too far from the gunfight to be effective in helping with it. So we'll see if we see a repeat, though, because so far we are seeing Deja Vu, a Church defensive win, a Cash attack win, and will we see a repeat of the third, which is the Gym defense win? I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like last time it was pretty close. I think this is winnable for forZe, but either way, could be a good defensive win again for DarkZero. That would put them in a nice 4-2 advantage. They're going to be a bit of a struggle, though, as this will slowly get figured out by forZe. They will get better and better, I think, at attacking Gym. So at some point, it will not be the play anymore.
Well, this will be the last round of the first half here, round number 6. And this is, again, quite the pivotal round. For DarkZero, you can come away with a pretty standard scoreline of a 4-2 advantage. Typically, you would lose your Gym bedroom defenses and win your Cash ones, but hey, even if you flip it around and win both your Gym bedroom defenses, you're looking golden.
10 seconds
Yeah.
to go.
Well, see how they set this up. They're going with castles, of course, very important. They've got the Echo to provide some good intel for their teammates, as well as the cameras from Hyper. Again, forZe not bringing any IQ or anything like that to be able to spot either of those. And that's the thing is, you mentioned earlier about the clash reading into the fact that they don't bring Kafe out. That's the one reliable thing about the Russian teams is they do not vary their attack operator lineups very much at all. And to be honest, it generally works out pretty well for them. Both teams very good on attack. But it is something you can use to your advantage, that you know what they're going to be playing on their attack, and you can try and bring things that won't be countered. Because, again, if they're not bringing the IQ, well, then it's a lot safer to bring the Valkyrie and the Echo. They're just going to have to manually spot those things. At least the Yokais aren't as invisible as they were temporarily.
So the first EMP unsuccessful at grabbing the bandit batteries off the wall. The second one will do the job all the same. And Jacuzzi wall gets opened up with no attempted trick there from Houghton. I guess he's sick of trying to bandit trick and gets the hell out of dodge there. They're going to lose an Echo drone as well. As that Echo roll has been shuffled around. Nyx, BC, and Mint now have all played the Echo. Looks like Mint is having the most success. The amount of damage he just dealt to Shockwave peeking the master window.
I almost wonder if they should go for an EMP into Gym just to take out any camera that could be in there, maybe even to temporarily disable the Yokai, because the Gym is going to be watched. So anything you can do to kind of make that a little bit easier to push in will be helpful. But Raz takes out Nyx, as we get a little bit of a sound issue for a second there, but that is important because Nyx was the critical player last time on this defense. Now he's the first one to go. He wasn't the Echo or anything extremely vital. Yeah, you don't want to take out your drone and doing that. Have the Sledge do his job. Don't waste the utility. Now you're ready to open up the other one. Good utility usage here, but the peak coming out from Hot and Cold is just too much for Shockwave. And that's just a trade down, still 4-4, and plenty of time left for forZe to make this work since they have the wall open on Hot Tub and droning in, spotting that goo mine as well.
Not sure, but it looked like WTG's drone bounced off the goo mine flying through the air.
Probably did.
I wouldn't be shocked. Frag grenades coming out now as Houghton continues to jump up on top of the Bev. That's going to go soaring, and it looks like it got caught by an ADS. No, it downed Mint.
Wow.
It did not get caught.
Well played. And oh no, we can't finish it.
Now Houghton peeking the window again, another one to fall. Mint is still down and bleeding out. They have bathroom control. Oh no, WTG whiffing a lot of free shots there. Hyper takes down Kama as well. Over in Cash and another one for Hyper. WTG cannot for the life of him finish off Hot and Cold as he perseveres by the mattress in the midst of Master. Last man standing inside of bathroom as he's playing the deployable shield that was set up by the defense against their own teammates. Mint is continuously bleeding out here, and there's no possible rescue mission from DarkZero being employed to go and save him. 20 seconds and more shots ring out through the wall. This could be the Hot and Cold show inside of Master Bedroom to really give DarkZero the advantage. Heading into the second half as WTG cannot get a kill from inside a bathroom, a pivot position, and whiffs a lot of shots in the engagement, and DarkZero take full advantage. Hyper with 3 on the round. And that is DarkZero heading into the half up 4-2.
Well, deja vu. We saw the exact same repeat. So DarkZero showing they can defend 2 of the bomb sites consistently and the other one inconsistently as they lost Cash both times. But hey, Jim and Church is enough to start with that 4-2 lead. That's pretty good. But now forZe switched to the favored side, so looking pretty good. And if it does get to overtime, forZe gets defense first. So this is going to be a tough one. Church first here from forZe, much as we saw from DarkZero. And they're going to sneak in that Kaid instead of the Legion. They're also going to bring that Echo. And not being banned, obviously both teams didn't ban it because they want to use it. See if they can use it effectively as well. We don't always see a lot coming out from it necessarily because it's mostly being used for intel more so than being used for denying the plant.
Attackers need to locate
So
and defuse
every once in a while if you see the red pings, that could be what it's from. But otherwise, we're also not really seeing a lot of its direct usage.
Yeah, the Echo drone, back when Echo only had 1, and Echo was quite the niche operator to pick.
Yeah.
That was definitely used for late round plant denial exclusively because you couldn't ping on it, and Echo was the only one who could see it. Teammates couldn't see the old Echo drone. Then the rework came out for Echo where he gets 2 of them, everyone can see it on his team, and it can ping. Very different story. Now it's used for a lot of intel gathering.
Well, that's kind of what they wanted it to be used for to an extent. And that certainly worked out. I just think maybe it's a little too strong. Got to tone it down somehow. And I imagine at some point they might, just to make it so Echo's not so powerful, not so banned all the time. They did adjust his stun length a little bit recently, so they're trying to make him a little more comfortable to play against without necessarily nerfing him too much, but I don't think that was really going to affect much.
If I'm not mistaken, it was a drop from 20 meters to 15 on the range.
Yeah, I know the length of stun was down as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think it was 10 seconds to 7.
I believe that was it. I remember a 7 being in there.
Yeah. But I think the range also got shortened from 20 to 15 meters, because you used to be able to zap people from a mile away.
Hey, at least it's not like the Maestro Evil that can literally go across the entire map.
Exactly, it just never ends. Smile.
Magic laser. Well, a little bit of slow going for DarkZero. Now, again, they don't know how forZe are going to play this necessarily. Yes, they could have watched the VODs from yesterday, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee they're going to play the same way against you. You need to be careful, much like they were trying to be on Kafe. Didn't work out on Kafe, but they do need to be careful here. And time management is most likely to become an issue. But at least the upper part of the floors, they have their pattern down. They can play their strat for attack. It's once everything gets opened, that's where the rubber meets the road here for DarkZero, and whether or not they can start to actually make a push successful. Jukebox finally turned off. Let's see if they can make some progress. Gonna just check for ADSs with that flashbang throw. They're also gonna flash behind generator. Start things out a little bit. But all they've done is verify ADSs are not in play there. That means grenades could come out, but they didn't bring anyone with grenades. And Capitao doesn't have to worry about ADSs anyways, so that didn't really do a ton for them in finding out whether or not there was ADSs there.
No, and Rask was also ADS striking in behind the generator inside of blue. So he's got one down now, just in case Hyper wants to come in and stun him, or impact him, or more stun grenades want to be thrown over. But you're right, the Capitao Firebolt's resistant to Jaeger's ADS, so you don't have to stress too much about that. And Nyx, speaking of the Capitao, will be pushing down blue. I imagine it'll be his job. Take care of Rask, and he almost could have taken care of WTG in the process. 2 for 1 there, but Hyper will be the one to drop Shockwave.
Oh, important kill. I mean, those Yokais probably are already up, but still, that's an ACOG off the board on a 3 armor. However, BC gets Pasha as well, and that's another important kill to Bandit down. Not going to be tricking anything now. Looking pretty good here for this attack, especially once Rask goes down as well. 5v2. forZe look like they're going to lose this, especially as BC gets WTG.
Kama alone in a 1v5. Could be a flawless round of DarkZero's own here. Put us at rest and move us on after the first round of the second half. Kama taking a lot of damage, and it is a flawless round. DarkZero on North American soil. Drop map 1. They come back with a vengeance here in map number 2 on Clubhouse. You know, we were talking about forZe's aptitude and ability on Clubhouse after their demonstration against FaZe yesterday. Looks like we're going to get attack timeout here.
Maybe this map should have been their pick instead of Kafe.
Maybe, because Kafe really went awry for them early and never really got back on track. And as for Clubhouse here right now, DarkZero in the driver's seat. They're in control. Attack timeout coming up from forZe to regroup and talk some things over. They don't seem too worked up, though. They seem pretty calm and pretty in the zone.
I think they know they can do it. They won map 1, so even if they lose this, they get to go to map 3, which is Villa. So that will be interesting to see how that goes for them. I'm not sure what their history on Villa is, but Villa has not necessarily been a great map, it seems, for Empire. So I don't know if that will be reflected in forZe as well, but that will be an interesting decider if we get there. And it's starting to look entirely possible here. forZe haven't necessarily needed timeouts a lot of the time, just because they're usually in the driver's seat. But this is looking really good for DarkZero. I'm a little surprised, to say the least, especially with how much they struggled attacking Church themselves and then fall prey to it here against DarkZero, who just seemed to have no trouble attacking it at all. I mean, it took them a second to feel things out, but then as soon as they started losing members of forZe, it just didn't seem like they were able to regroup and push back the attack. So just DarkZero got deeper and deeper. Probably good communication and call-outs from the drones as well were able to help with that, so they were able to continuously execute while forZe was just trying to adjust. But Mint bringing out a 6th pick Monty, I wonder if that was just discussed during that attack timeout. Even though it was forZe's attack timeout, both teams get to use the time to talk to their coach. And I'll be interested to see if this works, because Monty's a risky play to make. But if they know it's cash, which it is, then that is something we have seen quite a bit of in the past. Funny that they'll play the shield on defense for cash and for attack.
Yeah, bringing out the Clash. Didn't really work so well. Nyx there on the Clash round.
I blame that on teamwork more so than Nyx. He tried.
He tried. So we'll see if we'll have our first successful cash and CCTV defense of the day, or at least of this series.
That would be interesting.
DarkZero was 0 for 2.
Yeah, that was not the best. It was surprising too. It's actually not like the hardest site to defend, but part of that was Hot and Cold just really not doing a great job bandit tricking, so that they were able to get the wall open fairly easily. And once you do that, you know, the round starts going a lot more in attacker's favor. The longer you can delay that and hold garage at the same time, yeah, it becomes more doable. But I'm not sure where Mint is at the moment. He's got to get cracking on that garage door at some point. But he might be used to clear some of the map first. Mint is a very aggressive roam clear when he plays shields, especially Blitz, for example, on Oregon. So he may just be going for a bit of a map clear first. Do some work on that, make sure that they're not going to have to deal with any flanks. Then he can get to work, help with garage, because they don't need to push garage right away anyways. They could focus on this wall first. But it is nice when you're pushing garage at the same time as focusing on this, because it really splits the attention of the finish. There we go, Mint also at the garage door. Wall's going to get open, so Pasha not doing any better than Hot and Cold did. Push is going to start to come here pretty soon onto this doorway. A lot of players here in garage, and a rotate from Kama as well might be helpful in defending against the Monty, but Mint is not trying to overextend himself just yet. Interesting that he brought stuns instead of smokes, though. Smokes are definitely very strong, so not sure that that was the best choice. It might have just been left on there from a previous setup or just default. As we talked about before, they didn't necessarily set up every operator possible with the normal defaults. They just got to go with whatever they have set up when they make a pick like that, especially a 6th pick.
Located by
so DarkZero now assessing the situation as they have the CC wall open, which is a good start there, and they utilize one of the asphyxiating bolts from Nyx to make sure that Pasha couldn't go for the bandit trick, so that's one portion of that utility taken away. And Shockwave, yeah, you can't get the Echo Drone in there through there, so now he's going to go 1v1 against Mint.
Just I was going to say walk up to him and then have the cap out, but BC just finished the job, no problem.
That's a lot of damage to Mint, though, down to about 5 HP. As soon as a smoke detonates on him, it's over from WTG. Maybe an impact hits him, it's over. The edge of a nitro cell connects. I mean, there is a lot that could go wrong here for Mint. Even his hand exposed for a moment could be the end of Mint as we know it. And on the shield here, he's going to have to push in and be the driving force, and not having a lot of HP to back that up as that tank, that bullet sponge. It's going to be detrimental, but BC will pick up another one for free onto Rask. Looking to be a run out here from Kama momentarily, but he watches just as BC will pass in front of him into the lower portion of the garage and go for the rappel. Reading it beautifully, trying to go for the hip fire, and Kama embarrassing himself on international television as Kama will go down. Hot and Cold reads that one beautifully. There goes the smoke, but Mint evades. Not getting hit by a single portion of that. The nitro will go up and it will not connect as no one's gone in for a plant on default just yet. Another beautiful shot there from BC. And again, flawless round after flawless round for DarkZero. They continue the onslaught. And they now lead, looking to put this map away and take us all the way to Villa.
This is very impressive. Already at map point here. This is not what we expected. This is a good map for forZe, but DarkZero just running all over them. I mean, they were doing exactly what forZe weren't doing, which is adapting to the bomb site. They bring the Monty and the Capital, but really it was BC on Thatcher slaying 3. Just using, I mean, in a way, baiting the rest of his teammates as distractions. The Monty being the first of those. Just well played. And then that run out failing. That's one of those moments where you just go, they deserve to lose this round. Just off of these misplays. And this could be the last round here on Clubhouse. They don't really look phased, though. I feel like that is some of the secret to sauce to the Russian players. Just their calm. Well, we call them Russian machines or cyborgs for a reason. They stay very cool and calm under pressure. It usually works out for them. But this is a bit of an uphill battle. They've got to come back 4 rounds in a row. They are on the favorable side. It is doable, but it's not looked very good for them so far. They've lost the 2 rounds they've played on defense on favorable bomb sites that with high percentages that I quoted earlier.
Mint right now still running back the shield. Hyper leading the charge at 11-2 through 8 rounds.
And that's what you're seeing is the story of the wins is not diffuse plants, things like that. It's the number of kills that you see on DarkZero's side versus forZe's. forZe is just not slaying DarkZero the way they need to be.
And the way they were just previously on Kafe or even last night against FaZe. I mean, this is the first time we've seen forZe look kind of weak.
Well, you were talking earlier about studying the VODs and actually paying attention to the way that they played Clubhouse. I gotta say, I think that paid off for them. We know they have good coaching staff. BC was formerly the coach, probably still watches a lot of the VODs himself, tries to big brain everything as best he can, along with Bacon to be able to help with that too as a coach. They are going to go for the Monty play again here, even though it's Church. They just want to be able to clear out things as much as possible. And just in case they went for Cash again, they were prepared for it with the same lineup, expecting that to be the play. And maybe that will turn out to be a mistake in a way, is going for the same lineup. But I don't know, they're doing a good job getting the wall open, things like that. They have the Firebolt to be able to help make sure no one was going to be able to trick that. But interestingly, they are going for a roam themselves. Pasha on the Ela. Not what I would have expected from them, but maybe aggression is what they're thinking will be able to equalize this a little bit. So, see how Pasha does. He gets pretty antsy, though. He was the one typing ZZZ yesterday. He can definitely... Oh, Nyx about... Oh, the contest happening here. I thought Nyx might actually win that for a second, but he was busy breakdancing to his doom. Might have even barbecued himself a little bit there. Well played by Pasha. They're going to call that out, though, and they could section him off into that room if they can take control fast enough. But it looks like they are not. A lot of the rest of the defenders actually rotating up to help protect Pasha. They're going to double down on this roam now, and that might be the play. Hyper doesn't even want to walk into that potential crossfire.
No, not knowing that someone's on the main floor bathroom, and there for Pasha being inside a strip. Oh no, BC's gonna drop right into the waiting arms of Kama, and now coming back up. Blue Stairs is hot and cold, angling in for two. A Shockwave will peek outside the generator. Hyper will come down in support as all the toxic babes are being dumped in towards Mint inside of Blue as well. The rest of the push here, a beautiful shot there from WTG. Downs and finishes off hot and cold. The shotgun to the feet of Mint on 2 HP, but being shot in the back now by Hyper. More shots ringing out through the wall, and Mint with a pistol. Down to the 2v2 now. Mint once again on 5 HP, pushing forward to try and push Rask out of Arsenal all the way down the main hall in support with Hyper close behind. They need to recover the diffuser and push in for an Arsenal plant. The stuns come out and disorient Rask. Mint trying to go for the ADS, but put the shield back up for safety as he is so low on HP and does not want to leave Hyper in the 1v2. But that's exactly what it'll be now instead for Mint. The 1v2 on the shield on 5 HP. His hand is sticking out and just missing the bullet momentarily would be Pasha. Stuck inside of dirt with nowhere to go. Closed off from diffuser access. No utility remaining, no health to push with. This is going to be a lockup here for forZe, barring an epic throw. Still Pasha darting and dancing around this stack of boxes, constantly confusing and disorienting Mint, and as he goes for the ADS, Pasha will decapitate him. The Scorpion doing good work there for Pasha on the round, and forZe stay alive here on map 2. A possibility to be the #1 seed coming out of Group D on the line.
Here's the problem, though. They've got to go to all 3 bomb sites to be able to keep in this map. That's not easy. Nope. Usually there's going to be a weakness on at least one of the bomb sites. If that shows up, and I mean, that was even actually kind of a close round there, despite a good start. Mint actually stayed alive as long as he did with such low health because they had no utility, no impacts, no gas left, anything like that to be able to stop him. And he's very good at shields. So I imagine he might actually 6th pick off the Monty this time, but I got to say it worked pretty well, so it's not really necessary to. And it's going to be Cash again, so why not? I'd say he sticks it and he does. Worked pretty well last time. They could have actually used Nyx as well in combination with the Monty to be able to clear the Raptors. They didn't even have to do that because of the way BC played, but I gotta imagine this lineup could pull it off again. I have a feeling this will probably be the last round of this map, but you just never know with these guys. DZ have been playing on fire this map. It's like they got fired up by losing Kafe and have just absolutely been on it. However, forZe, after that last round, could build up some momentum.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, forZe right now looking weak, like I said, for the first time that I've seen anyway.
Yeah.
In most of the qualifier games that I watched of theirs, where
Attackers'
it
objective
was
is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
sparse, like watching, just tuning into a couple rounds here and there, but they always looked in control.
Maybe they aren't human after all.
Maybe they aren't full cyborg level like Empire just yet, but I mean, they're only in Challenger League, right?
Rask going for a run out and actually getting punished pretty heavily. But yeah, the only in Challenger League excuse, right? Ooh, docked right back up though. Rask is gonna get dirty again if he gets a chance. He loves them run outs. What an Ash Jaeger main for sure though.
forZe here as well. They have the opportunity to win 3 rounds in a row here on the defensive side on Clubhouse. It is not unheard of to do. They would technically still be a 4-2 split, which is your average.
Yeah.
I mean, this is still doable for forZe to push into overtime, but for DarkZero, you gotta love the control they've had, the poise they've shown, their attacking prowess specifically onto this site. Back-to-back wins attacking Cash. They lose attacking downstairs, but like you said, it was a very narrow victory for forZe anyway. Oh, Shockwave peeking out. He grabs one onto Hot with the rush coming out. Pasha will shut it down. Nyx will fall. Trades back and forth. A Nitro Cell being sent out by Pasha will not connect. And the plant not going down here for DarkZero is just every possible piece of utility on the defensive side is being dumped into CCTV. Shots ring out against the walls, but not a single one connecting. Everyone firing back in pure terror and panic.
I love that utility fest. DarkZero spent so much utility almost unnecessarily trying to open that. It wasn't being bandit tricked. But then, as you said, all the utility dumped back from defense. This is going to come down to gunfights at the end because everyone's pretty much running on empty. And I don't think throwing batteries at the opponents will work here. So it's going to be down to who plays smartly. And Mint really is going to be key to that, much like I was saying about Nyx on Clash. Pasha, though, has the opportunity to get... Oh, he gets it! Oh, now that puts forZe in a really good position here.
Still have droning coming out from Hyper out on the balcony. BC will take down Rask, though, as he tries to push into the objective, carrying the diffuser as well. Man in rafters, a man on balcony. Still plenty of time remaining here for the defense. And BC again, though, shredding through every member of forZe like a hot knife through butter. Now it's Pasha alone in the 1v2. Has the health advantage over both individually, but not together as a team. And BC and Hyper have to work together as a tandem. Lights up BC. Hyper covering from the rafters. Pasha will down him. Now needs to turn the corner and quickly get the kill. Hyper trying to self-revive, and BC heading over into the rafters. Hyper back on his feet. All it takes is one shot, though. Beautiful flick there from Pasha. Now the 1v1. Pasha alone in the 1v2. forZe stay alive in the back of the young superstar.
I may be a little biased in this because I put Pasha as my MVP on my fantasy team, but that was impressive.
Oh, baby. forZe refusing to relent, looking a little bit like FaZe last night against forZe.
Yeah.
They're constantly down up against match point with a significant mountain to climb. And DarkZero having issues putting this one away. You know, they slam the gas pedal to the metal as fast as possible in the beginning of that round, and they have to slam on the brakes and pull a 180 because everything went wrong. They started losing everyone on the peaks and the trades.
Yeah.
It brought them down. They wasted all the defensive utility, but like you said, it came down to gunfights, and gunfights are forZe's game.
The problem I have with the way that DarkZero played that is they didn't pre-fire enough. Pasha didn't really move. You had the self-revive from the Zofia, just pre-fire. You either win it or you don't, but just peeking it is not play with such low health because all he has to do is hit you anywhere at that point. It doesn't have to be the head. And you go down, I don't know, that was definitely not play. Pasha, though, all the way up into the double digits, trying to catch up to Hyper at 14, but they still potentially got to go 2 more rounds just to get to overtime and have to win 2 more after that. But like I said, they start defense on overtime, so they could do it. It's possible, but it seems like a lot of Pasha clutches having saved the day.
Comes down to narrow victories back and forth. A much closer map here on Clubhouse than was Kafe. Just round to round, even look at the differences between the amount of kills on the map here on Clubhouse, even at the what would have been 9th round. You know, there's so many more kills. There's so many more rounds that are coming down to the wire. And yes, DarkZero have had a couple flawless rounds of their own, but for the most part, forZe been hanging with them toe-to-toe.
To be fair, those have been really close rounds, though, for DarkZero, the ones that they've lost. So I think there's a high chance they close this map out before forZe are able to catch up. But I don't know if Pasha keeps playing the way he has been. I was hoping they would stick that Clash, though. I want to see how their shield play was.
It'd be interesting. You never really see, like we said, you don't see the Russian teams bringing out a lot of those.
We know Empire hates Monty.
Yes.
Well, Hotten's already taken half his health in damage.
That's his Kama. The shots to the drone hole were pretty detrimental to Kama's HP bank there, and he'll have to back off. And wall gets opened up, but Gym Bedroom defense is on the other side of the map here for forZe, so they're not really in too much peril by losing the CC wall.
I like that they read into that and they don't try and bandit trick it anymore because the Captown Firebolts are coming out, the EMPs. They know a utility is going to be dumped on it, so just let them dump the utility on it and don't fight it.
Knock, knock.
Especially if you can't win it anyways. I think that's smart by forZe, especially since the bandit is Pasha. We know how important he could be in a gunfight, so.
DarkZero slowly picking their way through this setup on the far side of the map. There are 2 members currently playing over in the Cash side. It looks like it's Shockwave and Kama over inside of Cash and the top of Cash stairs. Yeah, it is Shockwave. He's gonna have an impact dropped right at his feet, and he's gonna have to bail out immediately into construction, leaving Kama alone on the Cash stairs to try and fight against 3 members of DarkZero pushing in. It's gonna be a drop-off there for Shockwave as he drops the stage hatch. Hyper will take him down, though, catching the flank beautifully and pre-firing up for Kama for 2. It won't hit. the asphyxiating bolt will push him down the stairs into the waiting arms of Hyper, but Kama will win out with the UMP, dropping Hyper, the top fragger in this entire match right now, for Shockwave. A pretty good trade there if you're on the side of forZe.
I liked the calm play from Kama. He knows he's getting pushed and pressured from multiple angles, just plays it smart, wins his gunfight, and then bails out. That was the right play. That's going to help win them this. Obviously, he's not going to get healed up because they don't have a dock this time, but definitely a good play. I like that he has breach charges as well. His last one being used to open this up, but this is actually a pretty slow attack onto Jim from DarkZero, just now opening the Jim window with 38 seconds left. forZe could definitely win this if they just play patient and smart and just controlled aggression. And these little bullet hole peaks certainly help as well from Pasha, whose batteries haven't been effective, but his gun certainly has.
WTG, sorry. Oh, what a shot through the wall from Houghton will take down Pasha. WTG also only has one more smoke remaining and a couple impacts. Press into logistics here, and Rascal shut that down from Nyx. So there goes your cap and tab. We level up on man count again. The last Toxic Babe will choke out the member from DarkZero trying to push in from construction. Hot and Cold alone inside of Master while a double flank comes through logistics. They need to get a plant going here. The diffuser's on the ground. All forZe have to do is back off. forZe or WTG, the last man standing, and forZe will win out on time. The last two members, Mint and BC, both go pushing through logistics, and they leave Houghton alone to die inside of Master. He couldn't get a plant going, and forZe are going to push this to maximum in regulation.
They did it. All 3 bomb sites in a row. So
now they got to get another one.
That was the big hurdle, though. Now they get to go back to their preferred one. So that was the important part. Can they win Cash and Jim in a row? They did it. Now they are dangerously close to overtime. And the thing is, they go into overtime, right? They get to start on defense. They've proven they can defend all 3 sites. Something that we did not see work for DarkZero. That's why DarkZero now taking a tactical timeout. How do we close out this round so we don't have to play OT? Because if they play OT, they might lose. And they already lost the first map. Can't afford to lose this one. They go down to loser's bracket. So obviously they don't get sent home and packing just yet if they lose that. But starting to look pretty bad for them to close this out just because the comeback from forZe is building up that momentum. Smart plays. Again, the calmness as well, though. While Pasha may be a little excitable, I don't feel like they get overly emotional. DZ looking like, you see furrowed brows, rubbing the heads, rubbing the hands together. Whereas forZe just look like, okay, it's time to get to work, boys. And I think that may be a very helpful psychology for them in coming back on this. Like you said, just the one more round mentality I think is very important, and that's what's got them this far.
Well, all it will take is one more as the tac timeout from DarkZero will expire. And we're going to jump in. Mint still taking the Montaigne, but we're going to see our first Jackal of the matchup as well from DarkZero on Nyx. Pasha, get a 6-pick off the Ella. Where are you going, bud?
Yeah, pick something interesting for us here. Make it spicy.
Valkyrie. Okay.
Still good, but just not as spicy as I was hoping for.
No. I think match point Cav probably would have been the
I would love to see a Frost pick because of the Monty.
Frost, yeah.
Or Capcan even.
True. Just really go out.
Well, because Mint is very aggressive on the shield. Punish him with Capcans or Frost Traps. Catch him on those because he'll push ahead without teammates.
The last time DarkZero attacked this site, it came down to a 1v2 for Mint, trapped inside of dirt with about 5 HP and no diffuser.
Yeah, so they did win this the last time. They only lost in the very first defense round, so it's definitely doable for forZe here. And of course, if they win it, they go into OT and can actually play it again immediately after.
10 seconds to go.
Future looking bright here for forZe as clouds were coming in to try and ruin their perfect day.
Aw, no rain now. Just reign of terror.
Attackers objective
Honestly,
is to locate a bomb and
it's
defuse
looking
it.
like bright skies ahead for them, and that's kind of terrifying for DarkZero considering the lead that they had. They were the storm coming, and suddenly they have really fallen off and allowed forZe to get back into this match when they had no business being in it.
I love watching Razz just crawling along, opening up holes in the bottom of a wall. Yeah, you're right. forZe definitely worked their way back to this, earned the chance at overtime, but they've got to do one more round to have that shot. And Mint is really pressing the shield play. It worked okay at first, but I don't know, it's starting to get a little bit played out. We're seeing it get countered quite a bit. I mean, forZe isn't bringing anything in particular that's like a straight up counter. Other than the smoke, really. They're not even bringing the Legion, which I think is a bit of an oversight. I think the Legion would be pretty helpful versus, say, the Doc. But at the same time, the Doc can be pretty useful because you'll see forZe sometimes take damage in these trades. Getting able to heal back up will help. Jackal track coming out, and I think that was the Kaid of Kama getting tracked for the moment. But it doesn't matter. He's going to be able to successfully stop that. Nope. Or not. I thought he was, but I think an EMP might have stopped it. Or just didn't go all the way there in time.
Psych. Psych. Well, the EMP double up there for BC, pretty standard, and it's going to work out getting rid of that electric claw before Hot and Cold's exothermic charge can be zapped away to infinity. So we stand at a 5v5. It's a little more than a minute burnt now. Approaching the midway point in the round, and DarkZero were angling for a blue push there. Mint was debating walking down blue, but now they've relocated over to the bar. This might be more of a church push, but down the main stairs in Moto Hatch.
I like how it's a camera watching a drone. It's like watching paint dry.
I see you, see me, see you.
Yeah. Well, BC, though, doesn't know about that camera. He's going to move forward, just unknowing, and of course, blowing that hatch. Pasha actually knows about it because of the Valk cam. Going to get a call for the C4. Unfortunately, it's going to get heard. Does down BC, though. I was going to say doesn't do anything, but it certainly did. Could finish it off with gas, but nope, too far away. However, Pasha wants to just manually push it. Gets a 2 for 1, and almost a third, but Mint finally getting a kill there with the ADS. Totally worth it, though, now. BC has been an important player, even though he's just Thatcher. He's been getting a lot of kills. Hyper trying to punish it, but no. Just the timing out there. Pasha made the play, and it counted.
Brass smoked out right now, taking damage from his own teammate's smoke as he gets docked up. A mixed signal there, but the barrage into blue here coming from DarkZero. Shockwave cuts down Nyx, immediately traded out, but Hyper will fall. Mint last man standing, whipping out the pistol in desperation, or we're going to overtime, going for the hip fire. Now the ADS will bring it down to a 1v2, but once again, 5 HP. WTG closes it out. It's 4 rounds in a row for forZe. We're going to overtime.
forZe was looking so desperate at the beginning of this, but it's like, no, we're not done yet. That's impressive, and Shield is nothing easy to deal with, especially from a player like Mint, who's very good on Monty and Blitz. Maybe if forZe decides to spend some time studying with Empire won't be scared of shields anymore, and then that's one of their big Achilles heels gone.
Well, forZe, they were all but surely going to map 3 against DarkZero here, but now they've brought it back from the depths of despair. Heading into overtime now against DarkZero to 6-6 scoreline. They also get to defend, and they're going to go back down to Church and Arsenal. Mint giving up on the pipe dream that was Montaigne.
I think he
back to Hibana. Yeah,
it's a smart play. It's not working. I mean, maybe there's something else he could have picked other than Hibana, but the shield was not it anymore. It worked at first, but I think he tried way too many times with it not working. Thought maybe, okay, I'll just adjust what we're doing the next time. Some of that was down to Pasha's play, just the sheer aggressiveness of downing BC and then turning it into a double kill while they tried to revive him. I mean, they even went for the smoke on it, which actually was a nice distraction and blinded them from seeing Pasha push up. So the smoke did actually do a bit of damage to Rask, though. That backfired quite a bit. But I think having the Doc actually did work out. I was saying, I don't know if, the Doc play is necessarily the play for Shockwave, but he made it work, keeping his team alive.
10 seconds to go.
Well, they're going to get off it right away. After it works out for them, they're going to go over to the Echo instead for Shockwave. And for forZe here, I mean, continue the rally. They were down in the depths.
It's interesting they would go for the... What a run out from Pasha. It's interesting they'd go for the Echo instead of playing the Valk again, because those Valk cams actually helped quite a bit last time. And the Echo drones, while they may be invisible, may not be positioned the way you want them to. And you can't always move them easily, but hey, I appreciate the idea. And getting an ACOG, because he wanted to play ACOG, on the dock anyways, I think that's fine. I think if he's effective with this, he doesn't have either of his yokais deployed, though, and that could be a bit of a mistake, because he may not have a chance to deploy him where he wants to while the attackers are controlling the map, so he may end up just losing them on the rotates. Hopefully he's able to get them in the right spots, especially if he dies early. Dying with 2 yokais in your pocket is just terrible Echo play.
That would certainly be a bad time. So, for forZe here, trying to run it back exactly as you have the last 2 times you've defended this site. It's gotten a little chaotic near the ends. A 1v2 for a 5 HP Mint on the Montaigne. Back-to-back attacking rounds for DarkZero, pushing to this site specifically. And yeah, forZe still come away victorious each time.
Taking a little smidge of damage. Not a ton, but hey, it would be great if we kill the Harbinger. This is risky, but you know what? Always worth a shot. It'd be nice to have that C4 later, but just scare them away, slows them down a little bit. They have to worry about who's down there now, what are they going to be doing, is it safe to drop? Flashbang's even coming out just to check it for ADSs, as well as to try and push someone off. Hyper's potential play here on the blue, though, if well timed, could be excellent. No, he might go for just an oil pit drop instead. Looks like he's trying to decide whether or not he wants to go that way or the other way, but either way, he's kind of going for a blue push. Just depends on which angle. Nyx, though, actually taking up the spot. Makes more sense, though, for the Capitao. Although the combination of a Capitao, Zofia, stun, and fire can be very brutal to anyone playing behind Generator.
Well, Rask has had to go through it, and honestly through the gulag against both Hyper and Nyx. Every time he's defended inside of blue, Hyper's always gone oil pit on him, and Nyx has always come down blue stairs on him. And somehow he has outlasted the amount of utility that has swarmed him in behind his trusty Generator. But for right now, no such pressure. He lives on without impediment right now, in behind the Generator in blue, and the rest of his team trying to hold out. WTG with a bit of a whiff there on the Toxic Babe. He's going to throw that instead over towards the blue hatch. Evades the stun beautifully on the sprint back, but Hyper will collect the first kill onto Pasha. WTG down and finished off by Mint as well, so things going awry early for forZe, but still a 3v5 to work out of. They have a couple of ACOGs to work with at long range. The smokes from Nyx now going to disorient and disrupt the vision of everyone else, and hitting the deck will be Shockwave to his immediate demise at the hands of BC. Turning to the corner, it's a clean sweep for DarkZero. The flawless round on the attack to put them back on match point on map number 2 to send us to Villa.
Certainly looking like it. That was definitely a terrible defense by forZe. Not because of the setup, but because of the way they played everything. It was just sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. You saw the missed throws. You saw just the attempts to make plays without the intel to do it. They thought aggression would work. You need some intel to back that up. They were making a lot of peeks and plays without anything to back that up. You saw, for example, the C4 throw, right? So I was like, oh, you know, they didn't bring the Valkyrie. That could, you know, maybe help a little bit. That would have helped so much had they had that extra intel. I don't know where the Yokais were, but they were not doing a ton for them. I did see one, I believe, over near the hatch in Moto after, you know, we went to throw the C4 up, but it must have got taken out because they just did not have good eyes on Moto, because you saw the peek around the corner unnecessarily, completely losing that firefight. Even the housing of his site covering up the player, it just sloppy, sloppy, sloppy from forZe, costing them the round that should have been a freebie. Look at that, 10 for BC, 17 for Hyper. Man, those two are really showing up for the team. Although Mint getting up there as well at 9, Hot at 8. Nyx actually surprisingly low for being such a fragger, but it doesn't matter. They are doing very well here. Now they're in the favorable situation. Defending in church, something they've been able to win consistently. Will forZe have figured it out and then be able to win their next defense? If so, then they'll still be able to take it and then take the match for the day. If not, I think Villa definitely potential to be coming here. Hyper, is he actually going to roam on Pulse, or is he just setting up a tease there? Hard to say. Nyx already has deployed both his Yokais. They're going for the old deployable shield, but Marcio helped kind of demonstrate where it's at earlier. That one's pretty typical. You'll see especially ACOG players play that spot, but Nyx actually said playing very aggressive. I was joking earlier about criticizing as aggressive Echo play, but I think now the current meta in Echo is not necessarily to always play him for end of round defense. You kind of play him a little bit more similar to Doc now, and we see actually Doc and Echo player kind of alternating between the two ops. So it's interesting to see that meta shift of like, you know what, gunfights are winning more often than not. Turtle defenses are the thinking more. The Pulse is gonna have to watch out. Hyper does take it. Probably got hit in the shoulder. That could have been very easily a headshot. We've seen some good kills through that kitchen floor before by IQs like that on Pulses. You gotta play in church, unfortunately, as a Pulse for exactly that reason. That's what he's going to be doing. That's the safe spot.
Yeah, Hyper takes one shot to the shoulder there. It was almost a freebie for Rast to start things off beautifully for forZe to keep themselves alive here on Clubhouse and possibly negate even having to go to Villa. But for right now, it's looking like DarkZero's in control. They have the defense here. They are up around after getting their flawless round on the attack. Downstairs, just a round to go. So for forZe, they have to respond back in kind. They have to get a victory here on the attack, attacking into the basement, and then win a defense. So definitely not out of the realm of entire possibility here for forZe, but it's definitely DarkZero with an early advantage. And boy, Nitrocell comes soaring for Pasha, but barely connects. Another Nitrocell being sent out from Hyper. That also will not do any damage, so 2 wasted C4s there on the side of DarkZero.
Come on, your Pulse, you know whether he's there or not. What a waste that was. We'll see if they can actually catch anyone off guard here, though, because no one's really been damaged outside of a little bit on Hyper and Mint and a little bit on Pasha. Time is down to about a minute left here, but Shockwave just holding an angle. The patience from the attack, despite the fact that time is dwindling down, this is could work against them. But at the same time, it looks like DarkZero's actually getting kind of antsy, trying to be aggressive. That punishes Nyx. Now the Yokai's all on their own, but Kama pushing a pinch from Dirt, wins again. Hot and Cold going down on forZe, looking like they can take this attack round for once. Putting a lot of pressure on. Mint takes one down, but WTG trading it onto BC. 2v4, forZe in the driver's seat here. Mint drops as well. Hyper trying to make this work here. Mint finished off. Rask with the pistol to do it. 4 almost full health operators against 1 lone pulse. His heartbeat might not be much soon, but he takes down Shockwave. It doesn't matter if they get the fuse or not. WTG finish things off, takes the first successful attack round for them on Church, changing things up in the overtime and putting it within the realm of possibility to take this and take the match for the day. Send DarkZero down loser's bracket. It is down to the wire here for DarkZero. 1 round left to decide, do we go to Villa or move on to the next match?
So for DarkZero, they'll be on the attack, and forZe going for a gym bedroom defense. All cards are on the table, all the marbles are up for grabs. Round 15, ladies and gentlemen.
To be fair, they only defended gym once and they succeeded.
Very true.
And that also worked for DarkZero, so maybe gym's the play now.
Hey man, CCTV Catch had a rough go, at least in this map.
You know that sometimes that's part of the cyclical meta because teams are so used to attacking that as a primary. We've seen that happen on a lot of maps throughout the history of Sieges. When people are so used to attacking a certain site, you almost need to switch to off sites because the site is quote unquote figured out at that point. And we saw how both teams have really struggled to hold the server wall. And because of that, that does make Cache a difficult site to play in. I can understand if both teams are very well practiced at opening that to the point where teams are just not even bandit tricking anymore. I think it is kind of smart to go for the play in here. It is interesting they're going to go without the Kaed to be able to kind of sort of trick the Jacuzzi wall. Pasha probably not going to try and bandit trick it, but he honestly has not been very focused on his batteries. I almost feel like he's picking bandit for the gun more than he's in the 3-speed more than picking the batteries. We see him oftentimes playing with 3 in his pocket.
Oh no, is Shockwave really gonna do this? At 7-7, maximum overtime match point. He's got a Valk cam outside. He gets spotted by Nyx. Nah, Shockwave's not gonna go for the run. He just wanted to see what he could find outside. Puts the second Valk cam inside of CCTV looking out the window, and the third one inside of construction. Pretty reasonable Valk cams elsewhere, but you never know with Shockwave. Maybe he goes for that run at 7-7.
Yeah, it's a risky play, but sometimes that's what you need to do. But both these teams have had hits and misses with aggression to the point where I feel like this is actually going to be a very patient round. I don't think either team is going to overpush it unless they see a good opportunity. If they see an opportunity, I do expect one of these teams to pounce on it.
So Hot and Cold is going to open up the CC wall. Shockwave is going to have to be forced to push back a little bit. BC's going to get on the upside down rappel outside the construction window. Oh, here comes the breaching charge. WTG well aware. Will he go for the jump? No, everyone, like you said, everyone on forZe holding off just a little bit.
They want an advantage opportunity. No one just trying to like throw it out and catch each other. They know each other well enough throughout this match to know maybe that's not the best play all the time.
It seems that cooler heads are prevailing on both sides of the game right now, and as we approach the midway point in the round, we still stand at a 5-5. Grass trying to go for the dirt tunnel peek towards anyone on Jacuzzi balcony. No one from DarkZero has actually meandered their way over to Jacuzzi yet, so we're waiting for that established position from DarkZero.
Literally a dirty peek. He comes off of it though, maybe a little too early. He probably should have been more patient with it, but at the same time, who knows, that might have ended up costing him his life, and now they're going to have to watch that hole if they see it anyways. Good pressure here onto the garage as well as putting pressure onto the windows now, but they are very stacked up. A C4 at the right angle. Could have taken out 3 for a moment there. They're both kind of hanging out, droning in that little alcove next to the AC unit there. They're going to start to open things up towards Jim, but they're also pretty stacked up to defend it and actually not putting any pressure here on the Jacuzzi wall.
This is a perfect opportunity for Rast to go for a flank and line up every single DarkZero member. This is a problem here for DarkZero, like you said, all stacked out on the balcony, choking a little bit on the gas, and here comes Rask, man.
This is timing. Mint could either make this or break this. Looks like, oh, he's gonna make it.
There you go, beautiful coverage there from Mint. Pasha down below with the nitro cell, and he knows they're gonna have to come storming into the objective through windows, try and get a plant down. What's left of the crossbow will now be disseminated by Nyx into the objective, and everyone needs to start covering windows. Angle from down below here from Pasha, read by Nyx, but still cut down. In behind the mattress, another one for forZe. Shockwave collects two. A Nitro Cell will land directly on a member, but it won't take down Hot and Cold. Cut down, pushing through construction. The last man standing is BC. And ladies and gentlemen, forZe to the quarterfinals.
I cannot believe they pulled that off. The comeback of the century, even losing their favorable defense round. They bring it back on an attack and then final defense. Thankfully, for their sake, they got to start on that defense round because that gave them a second one to make up for that first lost one. But very impressive,